election. On this Tuesday back in November, 75 million Americans voted for Kamala Harris to lead the nation. That despite the fact she supported every single Biden policy, a stunning admission by her on The View. In addition, Ms. Harris is one of the most inarticulate presidential candidates ever. She makes Silent Cal Coolidge look like Stephen A. Smith. So it is my theory that the majority of Harris voters cast their ballots against Donald Trump rather than for the misguided Kamala. Thus, it was no surprise that a bunch of No King demonstrations unfolded across the country on Saturday. Thousands of Americans loathe Mr. Trump and will, no matter what he does. In this age of narcissism, many folks will never admit mistakes. And if you're honest, you must concede the president makes it easy for opponents to dislike him. My assessment of Donald Trump is based on what he does, not what he says, because he changes his mind frequently and uses hyperbole to make points. So far, his policies are backing up his campaign promises. Since more than 80 million Americans voted for him, the king thing seems dumb. Trump is doing what he said he would do. That's refreshing for his supporters, infuriating for the Biden-Kamala people. The USA will never crown a king, but watch out for the court jesters. Back after this. President Trump signed a new executive order to lower prices on prescription drugs, as you know. But change takes time. So All Family Pharmacy is offering 20% off all meds now through June 30th. A great deal. No insurance needed, plus prescriptions and delivery are included. Just choose from more than 200 medications like ivermectin and more. Please visit allfamilypharmacy.com/bill. Use the code BILL20 for 20% off today. allfamilypharmacy.com/bill, code BILL20. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom fighters. Kenny Williams, how you doing, baby?
Good morning, Vic. I was thinking about, I just want to say this real quick.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this last night. Where did the 4 years go? We're heading up on 4 years.
Unbelievable, Ken.
It's like flown by.
When we started it, we're like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
I know.
For me anyway, like, what are we doing hiring me to do this? And I don't know. I think we've made a difference. I really do.
I think so too. And I just want to say thanks to all the listeners who've been with us since then and have grown even past that. I mean, we just appreciate it so much.
There are many,
yeah.
Many people who have been with us from the beginning. All right. Like at the beginning, I didn't even know how to pronounce Nick Schroer's last name.
I know you didn't, because we had to do a keyword, which was thrower.
Schroer the thrower. God. So elementary I am. I heard it on the X today. All one person's posts on X.
That's a first.
And that's our buddy Drew Thomas Allen. Michael Letts from Invest USA. Yuri Kaufman. We'll talk about the Middle East with him. We'll tell Drew that we played stuff when I heard it on the X at the end of the 10 o'clock hour. Vic for Vets and chat box at the end of the show. Ken, who's doing the Pledge of Allegiance for us?
Yeah, Vic, we've got from the American Federation for Children, Corey DeAngelis.
Love this guy so much. Go ahead, Corey.
Hi, I'm Corey DeAngelis, Senior Fellow at the American Federation for Children. You can follow more of my work and help us in the fight for education freedom at educationfreedompledge.com. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He's known by many names.
We, the people are in charge. We're going to save our republic.
Nikki Two Shows. Schroer the Thrower. Twitter trolls love to hate him.
We love Vic Porcelli so much.
He's Nick Schroer, Missouri State Senator.
Mr. Conservative in the Missouri State Senate. Congratulations on that honor, Nick. How you doing?
I am wonderful. Thank you very much.
Way to go. We always can count on you on being conservative, and one of the most conservative in the Missouri House, unlike some others, Nick. I mean, we were okay. I bitch about this probably every day. Okay. Oh, let's eliminate income tax. Yay. Let's get rid of personal property tax. Yay.
Yay.
How about property tax relief? Yeah. Yay.
Yay.
Not only did we not get all those or any of those, but now we're paying for two teams on the other side of the state to play in new stadiums.
Well, let me add a little thing in there that'll piss you off.
Oh, great.
More.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks, Nick.
The way that law was written during special session, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, we're gonna come back here next special session, and the Cardinals and the Blues and the Battlehawks and that soccer team and all of this." Well, no. The way that it was written, they don't have to come back next special session. They go to the Department of Economic Development, sign up, and say, "I want a new stadium," and lo and behold, they can just get signed off. So It's not necessarily just two teams that we're dealing with. We could be bankrupting our state.
Wow.
And kissing all of those things that you said goodbye, the income tax cuts, the personal property tax cuts. I hope the Department of Economic Development says, no, our state can't afford this. Or we can go back to the drawing board and figure out how to repeal some of this stuff, because it is vitally important to liberty. It is vitally important to the foundation of our nation and our republic, that we start returning these tax dollars that the people make back to the people.
I don't know. I feel so used. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like the girl who, had the one night stand and, hey, I'll call you tomorrow, baby. And then it's like, well, where's my tax relief?
And then, as Nick put it, with the Cardinals and the Blues and everybody, then you call her a week later and say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Oh, I'm with this guy now. I don't know, Nick.
With 15 other people.
Yeah, right. I mean,
and it's costing you. She's got your credit card that she's using to go on all these dates.
Unbelievable. All right. So what's the solution, Nick? I mean, we got to wait till another session now to get anything done. Is that true, what you said? There's never going to be tax relief for us in Missouri?
Well, I hope not. I hope not. Our friend Bill Eigel fought for personal property tax repeals for a very long time. We have Governor Kehoe, who ran on getting rid of the income tax, and we moved the ball about to the 50-yard line, and then a bunch of Republicans saying, "Well, yeah, how are we going to make up the revenue? Not how are we going to return this, and what are we going to have to start cutting?" It's that type of conversation that stops this. So, this isn't any slight at a certain governor or people who ran for governor or whatever. We had great ideas, from personal property tax cuts, income tax cuts. Look, I'm a realist. I paid too much in tax. Just let me have some back. I don't care where we start. If it's income tax, if it's personal property, if it's real property, I don't care. Just let me have some back. Now, this year we did do a little bit of the capital gains tax, and it's not as broad-based as I would like. It's not as applied to the masses as I would like, but it is a start, and I think we could build off of that if we implement this plan that I have with the Freedom Caucus of bringing the grassroots on board, teaming with the grassroots, and then sending their message, sending their concerns, sending their voice to the Capitol. I've talked to Justin Sparks about this. I've talked to Tim Jones about this, and me as the new chairman of the Freedom Caucus, we're implementing a couple things. We're already, getting a website up and running, having a dashboard for our grassroots people to jump on board. We're going to be conducting weekly meetings with the grassroots to figure out ways, because these people are the ones who are truly impacted by the tyrannical, out of control government.
So let's just play hypothetics here, Nick. Let's say Bill Eigel won that gubernatorial race back in November. Would we still be in this situation, or do you think he would have gave us some tax relief? Some of the things that you and I can talk about every Tuesday. I mean, do you think what do you think it would be? Do people just get sucked into this? Because people promise one thing every time, and then something else happens that's not that.
Well, we've got a great example in D.C. right now. You got a guy who ran on, hey, we're going to create Doge. We're going to cut trillions of dollars. We're going to implement all of these common sense reforms. But in order to do that, you're going to need Congress. You're going to need the House and the Senate. And unfortunately, we've got the same problem in Missouri that we do in D.C. You've got people who run on all of these campaign promises, and then like Lindsey Graham or Mitt Romney, or insert the weak Republican, they're gonna say, "Oh, wait a second, I can't do this." Whether it's gonna offend my donors or the cities that I represent, they're gonna have to start cutting spending. No, we just need to implement a strong message and not necessarily steamroll these people, but expose them for who they are, and let the people back at their districts know exactly what their representatives and what their senators are doing. Hopefully, with term limits, we can elect. We got to get on the bullhorns and start exposing these people, but ultimately start electing people that are prioritizing the will of the people versus the will of other politicians.
All right, we're talking to Nick Schroer, our favorite conservative senator in the Missouri Senate. So you mentioned Donald Trump. Got elected on. He's going to do this and he's going to do that, and he's doing a good job. And now everybody's turning on him because all the experts, all the war experts that were the same people that were the COVID experts and the Social Security and Medicaid experts are saying, "Oh, he's going to get us into war. I'm not supporting him anymore." He said late last night, "Get out of Tehran." That doesn't mean get out of Tehran because we're going to do something, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, this guy is the king of four-dimensional chess. And I'm going to be talking about it more this Sunday on Stay and Fight. We spoke about it a little bit. If you missed the show, go back, and anywhere podcasts are found, Spotify, Apple. But here's where I walk through as a conservatarian. I don't want to get into war. And this is one of the reasons I voted for Donald Trump, is because he was the guy when he was president last time in 2017 who stopped us from the unnecessary killings. So knowing that there is a lot of issues regarding the weapons of mass destruction back during 9/11 in Afghanistan and Iraq, and the questions of, okay, did Bush get us into this war for other reasons? Were they really weapons of mass destruction? And I know there's a lot of inconsistencies there. I think it is appropriate to question, okay, where's this information coming from? However, I've seen interview after interview after interview and video from the politicians in Iran saying death to America, death to Israel, death to the Western world. So absolutely, these people do not need a nuclear weapon. But again, how can we prevent the unnecessary killings without sending our men and women over there? And I think Donald Trump, again, is a master at this. He leaves the G7. He has this big dramatic exit. He's got to get back with all his people. He makes mention, evacuate Tehran. And it's done exactly what he wanted it to do, is cause a little bit of chaos over there, get the people out of there. The people are now, I've seen it on social media last night, prepping for Stay and Fight. There are lots of videos of these people who are stuck in tunnels, stuck on the highways, and all of a sudden they're playing clips of Iran being bombed. They're starting to dance, something that they've said that their political regime out there will not let them dance in public. So there's a little bit of pushback from the grassroots, I guess you could say, in Iran, saying, look, you guys got us in this unnecessary war. Look, we just want peace. So I am hopeful. I am hopeful that with Donald Trump at the helm, peace through strength can be implemented once again. And I'm hoping that this war that's going on in the Middle East will slowly dissolve away and peace will come back.
And Nick, I'm right with you with everything you said, but I got to tell you, man, we talk about back here in the United States, Trump has been hated so badly by the left. He's fighting not only international, negotiations, but he's also fighting here in the United States from his own people. I mean, we can go back to 2016 where he was being fought, and the first time there was controversy, all these people just scattered like little rats, right? Then when he's incarcerated, or when he was convicted of what quote unquote felonies, they all scattered, right? Then they thought, oh, wait a minute, he could be president again. Then they all came back. Now that this is happening, they're all running away again. Look, the majority of the United States of America is behind Donald J. Trump, period. And if I'm on social media, Nick, and I see these people say, "Oh, see, he did it. I'm out. I'm out." You're not a true. You're a liar. Okay, and that's what I call them out. And people back me because there are a lot of people who support Trump.
Well, and there are a lot of people like that in politics that will just go to the cool thing or who they think is going to win. When I was in the Missouri House, there were several people who were still elected officials that wanted to vote for leadership, not based on what policies they can get behind, what policies they think are going to help their constituents. They just want to be on the winning team so they can get something, whether it's a parking spot or a committee chairmanship. We see that all the time. And it's good to expose these people now. I saw Laura Loomer, who, I don't follow Laura Loomer. I'm not a big fan of hers whatsoever. She hasn't done anything, that I can cite that ticked me off. It's just, I don't follow a lot of these social media people if I don't know them. And, she even said, hey, let's start exposing all of these people who are going after Trump right now, rather than waiting to see how this plays out. And it's good to say, hey, let's question. Let's be skeptics, especially when it comes to sending our men and women to war. But we elected this man for a reason. We elected him because he's implementing peace through strength, because he is like a lion out there. When he moves, everybody's watching every step. And, late last night, he came back out, talked to former Governor Huckabee, who's in Israel right now, and they're not getting involved in this war. So again, there are many ways to skin a cat, and this guy plays four-dimensional chess like none other. So let's just wait and see how this plays out.
Yeah, and that's what we should do. But I got to say this, Vic and I, we support Trump wholeheartedly, but we question as well. Yesterday, the issue with him not telling Netanyahu to not take out the Khomeini or whatever it was, the mullah, whatever the title, the Ayatollah. Okay.
Well, he already took out salami.
Okay,
took out salami.
Well, what my question was, why didn't you just let him do it? And then it was clarified by Colonel Dunn yesterday when we interviewed him, and I was like, okay, I get it. That's a great move, but I questioned it. We question when things are needed to be questioned. Is my point.
Well, and not to compare, because I know the Democrats will light their hair on fire. They already think that the Republicans compare Donald Trump to Jesus. Not saying that at all. But if you were a good follower, whether it's of Christ, whether it's of the Republican Party, no matter what it is right to question. That's what scientists do. They question, they test, they figure out what is the best course, the strongest course to go with. And that's what we need more of. We don't need blind followers. We need people to question, but we voted for him for a reason. The vast majority of people voted for him for a reason. He's doing what he said he was going to with illegal immigration. He has not gotten us in wars. Yes, I'm a little ticked off because of the JFK and the Epstein files aren't released yet, but that's not all on him. There are other people that he has to go through to get those things to the American people. So again, let's keep the pressure on. Let's be skeptics. Let's, get a little bit loud when we need to, but let's not jump off the Trump train because this guy is a master.
And, getting back to the experts on social media, now they're war experts. Who's to say? Because I think Israel can handle this themselves. Yeah. And so why isn't anybody saying that? Everybody's, Trump's going to get us into war, but nobody's saying Israel take care of it. They're good. They're fine.
Well, I think they just like the scare tactics, because when you start talking about, well, if Israel gets involved in Iran, attacks, then America's going to get in. And once that happens, then you've got, Syria and Russia and China and North Korea, and then it's World War III. And I mean, that's kind of scary. And when you're plotting all of that stuff out, it probably doesn't matter who's going to be president at that point, because all of these crazy, dictators with nuclear weapons, we might not be here for that much longer. It might be the last Vic Porcelli show.
Hey.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. Even if World War III, let's hope that you're behind that microphone telling everybody like Walter Cronkite what's going on. But no, it's, these goofballs, these armchair quarterbacks or generals on social media just need to take a hike. They're doing it for followers. Again, there are several websites out there you can go to follow. I kind of got a little freaked out when I saw all of these refueling airplanes from the military were flying over to the Middle East, and he came back from the G7 quickly. but it's all playing out like I think he wanted to. He could make a few statements and send shockwaves across the world, and that's what happened last night with he didn't even have to send a weapon, didn't even have to send a bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. Nick Schroer, Stand and Fight every Sunday night, 6 to 8. Keep up the good fight, Nick.
Will do. God bless you, boys. Have a great week.
Hey, God bless you, Nick.
Nick Schroer. You know, Ken, I mean, Trump says evacuate Tehran. Did he say evacuate Tehran because we're going to bomb Tehran? Did he say that?
Great point.
He didn't say that.
No.
He said evacuate Tehran because if you don't want to get hit by an Israeli rocket, you'll be safer.
Perfect. He never did say it.
Everybody's an expert, man. Just like
everybody
Social
is,
Security,
man.
Medicaid.
Go on social media, you'll see a bunch of experts.
Yeah. All right. When we get back, a very special presentation, okay? On Tuesdays at 9:25, we do I Heard It on the X, and we're going to do all from one person who is always raucous on the show, by the way, every Tuesday, and on X, and we'll do that next on 101.10. Help me, Ken. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Wow. Welcome to Dementia Radio. God
Now go home and get your shine box.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Whoosh.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Tony Colombo here for my dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, the one-stop shop for all your family's dental needs. And Dr. Boscia is always expanding his services, now including the incredible all-on-4 full arch implant procedure, full mouth restoration that can give you back your smile in as little as 1 day. No more suffering with damaged or missing teeth or poor fitting dentures. You can see some amazing smile makeovers, learn more about the all-on-4 procedure, and see everything Dr. Boscia can do right now at newcreationdentalcare.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just a convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
everywhere.
Anywhere.
Whoosh.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Hi, this is Jefferson County Councilman Billy Crow with a reminder to check out our new show, Jeffco Patriot Radio, this and every Sunday at high noon. Now, back to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Thank you, Billy, very much. Tim Jones is on that show, I believe.
Yes, he is.
Oh, speaking, I'm sorry. We should have probably said this earlier in the show. Chris Arps, are we allowed to say any of this? I mean, it's so
I think yeah, we can say a little bit of it, yeah.
Prayers continue for your safe return. The exact opposite of boring, but hope the trip home is not super exciting. No, that was, yeah.
I heard he made it to Jordan.
By car, right?
Yeah.
Jeez. I said, don't go to Israel. I didn't say don't go to Israel. I said, why? Why do you want to go to Israel?
Right.
Well, you know, Jesus, and I get it. Why? That's I don't know.
Hey, can I mention something about Instagram?
If you must.
Yes, I do.
I must.
All right, join us on our streams. We're on YouTube right now, actually, still. X, we're on Facebook, of course. various different platforms, including Instagram, which right now I want to say hi to one guy. He's talking to us on the stream from out of El Paso, Texas.
What's his name?
One guy.
I
It's one guy dot that.
I know he's one guy. What's his name?
All right, who's on first?
This is exactly how Evan Costello did.
Exactly right.
I did not even know where. So the stream is on
Instagram. Also, yeah.
With all the Dr. Seuss and freedom fighters and all that.
Yep.
Well, one guy spread the word, man. Spread the Instagram word.
Yeah, man.
Don't let people lose out on all this handsomeness going on.
Right.
God
right.
almighty. All right. It is time for I Heard It on the X.
Anywhere, y'all. Everywhere, y'all. I heard it on the X.
All right. So whenever we do I Heard It on the X, I go through X and I find some things, some great and profound and some just stupid and liberal. And I send him the Ken, and Ken prints them out. So today, we're going to do all one person's posts on X, and that is our great friend and a guy who's coming up in a couple hours, about an hour, Drew Thomas Allen.
Yeah.
And he has just been completely on fire lately. And most of his are answers to other people's posts,
Right.
Candace Owens. I mean, what happened to Candace?
I have no idea.
The level of propaganda coming out of Israel is beyond parody. They're reporting that an Iranian wrote this letter begging them to bomb a news station. Curiously, the Iranian chose to write the letter in perfect English, not Farsi, Arabic, or Hebrew, but in English. And Drew's reply is, the level of propaganda coming from Candace is beyond parody, actually. 9 minutes ago. I mean, I can't even keep up with them,
Yeah.
9 minutes ago, President Trump is on the record dozens of times stating that under no circumstances will Iran be permitted nuclear weapons. This is on Iran. For those of you who want Iran to have nukes and are lashing out at President Trump, I guess you should have supported Kamala.
Really, that's the way it is, and you should still. And I would even add to that by saying promises made, promises kept, because he talked about it every time he was on the campaign trail.
Yep. Somebody named Anomaly. Anomaly. I get it. Okay. Put this out on X. Trump pretends like he's Ron Paul meets George Washington, then governs like Mark Levin meets Karl Marx. And Drew replied, what a moron.
Very simple.
That's what he does. Another reply to Candace. Imagine being a pro-Hitler Holocaust denier who, when not attacking Israel, spends all her energy investigating whether the French president's wife has balls. Sorry, Candace. It's you who are out of touch. So funny. This was from, okay, now we're into the ones that I didn't even see those last night. Obviously, he just did those minutes ago.
Right.
He doesn't stop. He's like a X machine.
Yeah.
11 hours ago. The people screaming about abandoning Trump over Iran were never Trump supporters to begin with.
Yes.
These are the folks that simply did and said whatever was in the best interest at the time. That is exactly right. Trump never needed them. We'll be better off with them gone.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And again, on social media, remember and you actually brought this up to me, I think, off the mic with Ron DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
Once Ron DeSantis started running, you suddenly saw these rats just go right to him.
Yep.
And then when Ron DeSantis, of course, wasn't going to make it.
Trump, my man.
Hey, Trump is the guy.
Yeah.
And these are the same exact people. They're weak, and they don't need to have any place in MAGA, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, this is 12 hours ago. How many times do a person's predictions have to be proven wrong before their fans stop believing them?
Wow.
Lindsey Graham. And I don't know what happened to Tucker Carlson. I mean, he's just...
I don't know.
I know he smokes pot, but maybe he needs a different strain.
Maybe he needs to smoke less.
Or different strain.
Yeah.
Because there's different strains.
Oh, yeah.
There's one that'll put you right to sleep. There's one that'll keep you up all night, which is why would you smoke pot to stay up all night?
I don't know.
I thought you smoked pot to go, wow, man.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Just what I've heard.
Yeah, no, that's all I've heard. I don't
know. He writes 13 hours ago, TDS is getting even worse. Dave Smith, I don't know who Dave Smith is. he said something on X. I don't want to click on it because then I'll lose where I am. But Drew said, such a low IQ dweeb. Then he just said, Candace Owens hates Jews.
I don't get that. I don't know where that came from. She lost a lot of credibility when she started that stuff.
Iran has an N, not a Q. Iraq is a different country than Iran. People seem confused. All right. And then one more. That's a good way to kind of end it there. And we have one more that Drew posted 10 minutes ago. And it says, God bless President Trump.
Anywhere, y'all. Everywhere, y'all. I heard it on the X.
All right. So I started a drinking game last night.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Last night, and this is a pet peeve of mine outside of politics, just life. But last night, every time Sean Hannity said over and over and over again, I took a drink. I was completely wasted by 10 minutes into the show. He was reading Donald Trump's tweets, and Donald Trump said, I've told Iran over and over again that you don't get a nuclear weapon. But Sean Hannity had to say over and over and over. I hate that so much. You have no idea.
Too.
Just say over again.
Oh, I
got it.
I really, 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 really hate that.
I don't need you to say over and over and over and over. Shut up. That's all.
Brevity.
But it
economy of words.
That's right. If I had more time, I'd be more brief.
Yes.
That's why you should go home in your car to your home from your job with Tim Jones and Chris Arps every day. I mean, we got Chris Arps, who
world traveler.
I got to tell you, I was worried about him. You know,
I'm still worried about him.
And I worried about him before he left. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, but because we've been texting and to try and get him back on the show again,
mm-hmm.
and he's talking about, well, yeah, it's pretty cut and dry, but I am traveling by car, and then I reverted to those photos or those videos of them seeing cars and they're in the crosshairs.
Yeah,
and stuff like that, and it's scary, you know. When he's back home and able to kiss the ground of the United States of America, then I'll be fine.
And he'll do that, by the way.
He's
just the guy to do that.
He will, yeah.
Get down on his hands and knees and kiss the ground. But I got to say, too, did you see any of his Facebook Lives while he was there?
Yeah, a couple.
Very brave.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't like a little wuss like I would have been. I would have been like, Facebook Live from him, they're going to kill me. You know? Somebody help me. But he wasn't. He was tough.
Here's another post. I'm here still.
And he was smart. He didn't give up his location.
Right.
You know? So I can't wait to have Chris Arps back. As soon as he gets back, we got to have him here in the studio. All right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. That was fun.
Help me, I'm here.
Thank God it wasn't me. They're going to kill me. All right. So, Ken, last time we talked to our next guest, he told us about a little sting operation, child trafficking, that involved many people, he said, in Congress.
Yeah.
Michael Letts from Invest USA. He's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You must have got manure for your brains.
You're listening to The Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
You really like that manure for your brains one that you play after
it just flows, doesn't it?
What is that supposed to mean?
Oh no, I'm saying what I said.
It just flows.
It just
when I hear manure for your brains, Vic, I just think of you because you got manure for your brains.
No.
You must have got manure for your brains.
Okay. I didn't. It was somehow that just fired off like that. I don't know what happened.
All right. Let's talk about our great friends, Kathy and Rob Connor, because I'm seeing more and more roofing put in quotes companies, roofing companies in on the radio and on TV, and Goober coming to your house, but I haven't heard one of them say, this is the amazing thing about Connor Roofing. I've never heard one of these other companies say, oh, we'll call you after we do the work, and then you can tell us how we did. If you're confident enough to say the customer service is so good that we'll call you and say, how did we do? And by the way, take a look at Google reviews, Yelp reviews, and all that. You will see nothing but great 5-star recommendations and just the great accolades for Connor Roofing. So if you have any questions, we're going to get more storms, of course, right? We're not done with storm season.
Right.
It's going to be more bad storms.
Well, what's funny about that is back in, I guess it was probably April, I said, well, we're getting pretty close to being over these, right? And he goes, let's not say that, Ken. Because, and then sure enough.
And more of them came. So when emergency storm repair is needed, Connor Roofing is the place to go. So get in touch with them at connorroofing.com, CONNER roofing.com.
On the next Larry Connor's USA.
Iran and Israel back at the top of the news, and new developments, they're happening hourly. We'll bring you up to speed.
Larry Connor's USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on NewstalkSTL.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobbers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Now go home and get your shine box.
On News Talk STL.
Tony Soprano's favorite song, by the way, Smoke on the Water.
Is it?
Yep. Not James Gandolfini, the character, Tony Soprano.
Right.
This is his favorite song. All right, let's get Michael Letts on the air here with us. Total badass. Raising money to get bulletproof vests for as many officers in this country as we possibly can. Michael, welcome back to the show. How are you, my friend?
Doing great, Vic. It's always a privilege to be with you. You're a great host and you're a great American.
Did you hear what he said?
I heard it.
Did you hear it?
I'm going to capture
Okay, why don't you spread the word, okay?
All right.
Don't keep that a secret. They give me a lot of trouble here.
Love it.
I'm just kidding. All right. So listen, I got to ask you right off the bat. I hope you don't mind. Last time we spoke, one of the last things you said to us was you were involved in some sort of sting operation, child trafficking operation, and some names of the people would stun us. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, sir.
And so tell me.
No question, because it's still there. Let's go back and recap here real quick.
Yeah.
This is about 3 weeks ago, as I recall, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks ago. We had gotten a tip on a child sex trafficking. You remember that's one of the key things we're going after besides the cartels. And so we did a raid. In fact, we made it a national raid. We did raids multiple locations, but one of the locations in Alexandria, Virginia area, Fairfax, right outside of D.C., 10 minutes outside of D.C., was we had hit a operational center, what we call an operational center for child sex trafficking. And then we were able to free, as I recall, I think it was like 52 or 115 children that we were able to rescue. But on top of that, we got a drove of intel that we were unexpecting since it was an operational center. And there were filing cabinets. In those filing cabinets, there were dossiers. Dossiers where you have a folder with, information in each folder. Dossiers of active members of Congress. And in those dossiers were account numbers, offshore accounts. And what we call reverse engineered it and found huge deposits being made from USAID and also from these child sex trafficking operations. We've turned that over. The Bureau has it and is in the process of investigating it, opening up files. Now, obviously, just 3 to 4 weeks. I don't know that they've got it together enough to get over for indictments. Plus, let's just be very blunt, Vic. When you're talking about this meeting, we're not talking about 1 or 2. We're talking substantial numbers of active members of Congress.
Last time you said that the government would collapse.
We're talking about over half of them. Yeah. You do the numbers. You have 535 members of Congress. We had 326 members.
Wow. All right. So the Bureau has all these names. I don't know how many people know this. You know what I mean? I haven't heard this.
It was interesting. Let me just be very blunt with you. We passed the information along. It came out on Fox News at 5 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, the story had been taken down. Haven't heard a word of it since.
Now, why would that be, Michael?
Wow. Well, I think it's pretty obvious for everybody listening. And here's where we're at. It ties us into another part of what we're discussing this morning. Is we have uncovered so much corruption that I don't think anybody in America would argue that now. The question is, what are you going to do about it, and when?
That's the question.
When are the indictments coming, and when are the arrests and the handcuffs coming out? Now, quite frankly, if it's because we feel like we don't have enough handcuffs, I'm willing to help go out and grab some steel and make some for you if that's what you need. But I get, just like the Epstein files, I get that there are huge ramifications. You're talking about Epstein. You're talking about intelligence agencies all across the country. You're talking about nefarious activities our government has been involved with. This particular issue that we just talked about, you're talking about key people who have influence and control budgets, who control government functions. And so it's not quite as easy as you taking the janitor out back and spanking.
Right.
I get that. But at the same time, Vic, if we don't do something with this, who are we to say we have law and order in this country? We don't.
Yeah, Michael, that's the big deal. That's the big question right now. I believe that the American people, especially the American people of the MAGA type, are just weary. We need a payoff. We fought with Donald Trump this whole time. We're talking 10 years now, and we just need a payoff. We need some people that are going to be at least charged of these crimes.
And well, the evidence is there. And here's what the position I'm arguing is: these type of situations with these kind of influential people don't need to go through civilian jurisdiction courts. This is a threat to national security. This is a military tribunal issue. And quite frankly, the Constitution provides for it, and the commander-in-chief can appoint it. He is considering that right now as we speak. And it's time to get things done, folks, because people ask me, why are we kind of in a quandary right here at the moment with what's going on in the country, et cetera, et cetera. My position in the administration has been this. It's not going to get any better. It will get worse until people realize that there is accountability for their actions. They have not seen it. So you expose it, big deal. But if nothing is happening because of it, then they're just going to keep doing it, Vic.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, real quick, Vic. Michael and Vic, our listener, Allison, says zip ties work.
Zip ties work pretty good. So
my fingers are not nimble enough to do that. So that's why.
You know what? I get that. Those zip ties confuse the heck out of me when I try.
They do.
So let me ask you a question, because I don't want to ask you who, okay? Because I know you can't tell us who. But when we hear the names, will we say, oh yeah, look, he looks like a guy who would do that? Is that a fair question?
When you see the name, it's a fair question, and let me give you a fair answer.
Okay.
When you see the names, you'll say, I see those names every day.
Oh my God, Ken. Oh my God.
We need a payoff.
I'd love to talk about this the whole time because I can't wait to see these scumbags in zip ties or handcuffs.
Yeah, really.
And where I appreciate your show and all the shows I do across the country, America, listen to me clearly. If you do not unite and put pressure on, they will let them slip by through the back door.
Yeah.
We cannot afford that. If that happens, there is no moral ground to claim that we have law and order in this country anymore, and we will collapse.
So out of all those other radio shows you do, ours is the best and your favorite, right?
Oh, no question.
Okay, just making sure.
Always.
I'm just making sure. All right, let's talk about this guy in Minnesota. Okay, what an enigma, Michael, for different reasons. First of all, I don't believe in coincidences. I think everything happens for a reason. And this guy happened to shoot 2 Democrat representatives in Minnesota who voted against party lines in the Minnesota House, and he had no Kings flyers in his car. And yet somehow 2 things. First of all, Ken, have you noticed this flood of information we have about this guy?
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden?
Yeah, he had a list of over 30 Democrats, though, Vic. Not just 2. There were 30.
But all the information. How many times do we say, well, how come we're not hearing about this guy? Michael Thomas Crooks.
Yeah.
Why don't we hear? We have all this information on this guy, and he's a crazy right-wing hillbilly, Republican.
Unfortunately, their characterization is not accurate. This is what I said on the show yesterday. Tim appointed him as the governor's designee on the working force board. That's a lucrative position. Let me tell you how politics works, because I've been in it for 30 years. I don't hand out those appointments for no reason.
Right.
Those are payback appointments. That's a Democratic appointment.
Right.
Don't tell me he was a Republican. It's not even close. Okay?
Here's the funny thing, Michael. They talked to his next door neighbor, right? And the guy was asking him questions about himself, the fat guy about himself.
What a
And
mess he was, too, by the way.
Well, I like Jim Biden. He goes, I like Jim Biden.
Yeah.
First of all, he says that, and then we're supposed to take what he says next as credible?
Right.
Right? God almighty.
Not even close. And then the other thing is the fact that he was able to go to the scene. There are law enforcement already present. There is a firefight. They backed off and let him go in and do the assassinations. They come back out and leave.
Right. So stupid.
No. I mean, we know what is going on. We can't talk about it on the air just yet. But no, folks, don't believe a word you're hearing right now.
Yeah.
Not a word. This is a definite further escalation by the leftist liberals. It's in the very clear message. We're in it to win it. We're going to get power back. And if you don't stick with us, you're not going to be around.
Yep. I'll tell you, Michael, I don't understand how they do it. I mean, I know how they do it, but why they go to such great lengths to I'll tell you why. Because this is why. Because whenever there's a shooting, the shooter is never what the left wing wants him to be. Right?
Right.
Correct. You are correct.
I don't know. All right, let's talk about...
So they have to frame the narrative, and that's what they're doing now. And remember, they have the mainstream media in their back pocket, so that they have an advantage over us in that sense.
Right. Well, that's another thing, that if they have the media in their back pocket, maybe we'll never hear about all these names you saw in the filing cabinets.
They're trying. Trust me, I'm staying briefed on that almost every other minute.
Wow.
And boy, you wouldn't believe the pressure.
Wow. But you're being safe, right? I mean, somebody's probably going to have to get you.
No, that we already know that. And with all my training over the years, and at my age, I just laugh at it and say, "Come on! If I haven't had some good practice in a while, anyway."
Wow! Holy cow! All right, real quick, because we don't have a whole lot of time, because I want to talk about the book and I want to talk about the vests. But this Israel Iran thing, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, you got 2 things. This is all part of the narrative. Okay, they now have Iran, who is pushing and has in play, I'll just leave it at that, attempts to take out our current sitting president. And also at the same time, pull us in by, you remember, I've got contacts in the South, but I can't depend on them being able to track every nuclear facility that was in Iran. So if there are still nukes left, they're going to use them. And quite frankly, they love to use them on some American targets. And pull us into another global conflict. You take the president out, you bring us into a becoming world global conflict, and you've pretty much finished us off.
Boy, I'll tell you what, it's scary. I mean, we have our afternoon guy was stuck in Israel for 3 or 4 days, and he just made it to Jordan and hopefully flying home soon. All right, how is the campaign to get bulletproof vests on police officers' chests, Michael?
It's going well. We're getting an awful lot of response because people know that if we're cleaning this up, they deserve the right to be able to come home to their families, and they don't have that equipment. So we're getting a lot of support to do that, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm grateful for shows like yours, Vic, that are helping to get the word out. One of the things I want to quickly announce that we've just decided to do is because of all these child sex trafficking raids we're doing, freeing these children, we're going to create a program called the Broken Arrow Children's Ranch in the mid-states to house these kids so we can get them sorted either back to their families, or for those whose families have unfortunately been demised, get them into good, safe homes instead of getting them back into custody of governmental agencies that puts them back in the same position over and over again. Blows my mind. It really does, Vic.
How do people donate to get the vests on the cops?
Just go to our website. That's investUSA.org, and you can keep track of everything we're doing, everything we've just talked about, everything that's happening in the administration, global-wise, and you can also make sure you protect those who are protecting us.
Well, let's talk about your book a little bit. Truth, Lies, and Control, Finding Hope in an Upside-Down World. Can you give us a little synopsis of what we're going to find in that?
You'll find out how did we get to this mess, how come it's so prevalent in society, what we need to do to fix it. Basically, the bottom line is we've lost our way. We have no values and principles anymore. We've got to return to that. The only thing I regret, Vic, is I should have named it Lies and Truth instead of Truth and Lies, because lies are more predominant than anything else at the moment.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
See what I did there? I didn't realize what I did there, and I did that. Michael Letts, InvestUSA.org. Thank you so much, Michael. And we're going to come a-calling very soon, okay?
Look forward to it. God bless. God bless America. Folks, let me leave you with this. We are going to win this fight. It's going to take us a little longer than we thought. Don't give up hope. There's no other place to go. Stick with us. God bless you. God bless America.
God bless you back.
Thanks, Michael.
Ronald Reagan said that. There's no other place to go.
Right.
If America falls, there's no other place to go for freedom, liberty, all that stuff.
No, there's not.
All right. So can I just say something that's got nothing to do with anything, Ken?
Sure.
So Sunday, of course, was Father's Day. And my daughter, Marielle, sent me a little Father's Day present, Ken.
Aw.
And it was a variety pack of Drake's cakes.
Wow.
Coffee cakes, ring dings, devil dogs, yodels. Are you familiar with any of these?
Yeah.
Yodels are like ho-hos.
On the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devil dogs, there's nothing that compares. Ring dings are like ding dongs here. And of course, the very last thing, and I'm opening the box and I'm saying to my wife, look, coffee cakes, right?
Yeah.
And then I got to the last one, like, and funny bones. Ha ha. I feel like I had to say it like Pee Wee Herman. I don't know why.
Well, where are they? Because I don't see any here.
You son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Isn't that what you always say?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It is.
I don't see any here, though. It's really weird.
Hey.
I'm just saying. I don't know.
Listen to me, okay?
Okay.
My wife, I saw sausage and peppers come into the house. So you pick your battles.
Backpedal.
Uh-huh. Funny bones. Ha ha.
What are they called?
Funny bones.
What are those?
Peanut butter. They're like,
yeah. See, that would be my thing.
Okay, I'll bring you a
I
funny bone.
love those.
I felt like I had to say like, and funny bones. Okay. Thanks, Marielle, by the way, for the present.
What a sweet daughter.
She is. Yuri Kaufman, American Intifada, Israel, the Gaza War, and the new anti-Semitism. All present still in the 21st century, and I can't believe that it still is. But we'll talk to him next. Phew, it's only been 1 hour. I'm like,
I know, man.
On News Talk STL, we'll see you in a bit.
Whoosh.
Attention all gun enthusiasts, don't miss the big St. Louis County Gun Show, June 20th through 22nd at their STL Athletic Center in Fenton. Over 450 tables of pistols, handguns, rifles, log guns, shotguns, ammo, and more. The fun starts Friday, June 20th at 4, continues all weekend. Admission $14 and good for the entire weekend. Kids 12 and under get in free. With discounts for veterans, first responders, and anyone that mentions Aaron sent me. The big St. Louis County Gun Show, the weekend of June 20th. More info at bkpromotions.us.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Israel's airstrikes have had direct impacts on Iran's principal uranium enrichment facility, including its underground centrifuge halls. That's the conclusion of the UN's nuclear watchdog. Israel has been hammering the Natanz site, as well as targets in Tehran, sending residents fleeing the city. Iran has been hitting back, firing missiles in the direction of Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. President Trump returned to the White House this morning after departing the G7 gathering.
The president abruptly left the G7 summit in Canada one day early, returning here to meet with his national security team in the White House Situation Room. He told reporters on Air Force One that Iran should have agreed to a nuclear deal and that now he's looking at better than a ceasefire between Iran and Israel. Asked what that means, the president said an end, a real end to the conflict, and that he was looking for a complete give up by Iran. Greg Clugston, the White House.
As for the president's handling of the Iran situation, Senator Tom Cotton giving the president a grade of A+.
I think President Trump has been pitch perfect on this campaign going back to Thursday, really going back 10 years. It's been clear from the beginning that we cannot allow to have Iran get nuclear weapons. It means they cannot be allowed to get enrichment capability.
The Arkansas Republican on the Salem radio network. An appeals court to hold a hearing today on the president's deployment of National Guard troops to Los Angeles, move challenged by California Governor Gavin Newsom. 2 people missing, 6 others confirmed dead. The result of flash flooding across parts of north central West Virginia. State of emergency declared in hard-hit Ohio County. Many homes heavily damaged or completely destroyed with high water and mud everywhere. On Wall Street, the Dow down 86 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Patchy, dense early morning fog makes way for partly cloudy and hotter conditions today. 91 for the high, heat index around 95. Stray thundershower possible this afternoon and this evening, but it's a dry day for most of us. Increasing clouds tonight down to 74. Some weakening storms and rain will make a run at us Wednesday morning, but we expect them to fade. But a few hours later, potentially severe storms flare up in the afternoon and early evening Wednesday. Let's be ready for that. Tomorrow's high at 86. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, The Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, hour number 2 of our 3-hour tour set up by the great Ken Williams. Let's get right to it, Ken, because we got lots to talk about. Yuri Kaufman, author of America's Intifada, Israel, the Gaza War, and the New Antisemitism. Yuri, thank you so much for being with us. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Before we get into this war thing, you're Jewish, I imagine, right?
I am indeed.
As a Jew, are you just sick to death of people, blaming Israel and, the Jews, they cost everything. We hate the Jews. Aren't you sick of that?
I am, but you know what? That's not why I wrote the book. I mean, crazy college kids saying stupid things, indoctrinated by stupid professors. That's long been a feature of American life.
Right.
So
that's true.
I wasn't going to kill a lot of Sundays writing about that. I'm more concerned about serious people. I'm concerned about, for example, Barack Obama, who right after the October 7th attack tweeted, "We have to face facts. There's unclean hands on both sides." Unclean hands on both sides, huh? And then he said it's because part of the problem is because of what he termed the, quote, unbearable occupation, unquote. Problem, of course, was there was no occupation. Israel had withdrawn from Gaza over 18 years before. Just made it up. What bothers me is that. What bothers me is the New York Times, which regularly says things about Israel that are just patently false. What bothers me was Jimmy Carter, back when he was president, took a position more anti-Israel than the Arabs did in that time, than Anwar Sadat did. Those are the things that really bother me the most.
Jimmy Carter, it was his administration where Iran took our hostages and held them for 444 days. How could he be that stupid?
Well, where he was really stupid was in Camp David. I mean, he always gets credit. He brought peace to the Middle East. It's nonsense. His diplomacy, if you want to even call it that, had to be overcome in order to achieve peace. Because in those days, the big word you heard all the time in the peace process was linkage. Everything they said was linked to the Palestinian problem. The big problem, since the Palestinians wouldn't even recognize Israel, nothing could happen. Right. The big breakthrough was Anwar Sadat quietly told the Israelis he doesn't care about the Palestinians. He just wants to get the Sinai Peninsula back. If they do that, he'll sign a peace treaty. The man he told it to writes in his memoirs he fell out of his chair when they told him that. That was the breakthrough. Here was the problem. Maybe Anwar Sadat could live without a Palestinian state, but Jimmy Carter needed one.
Right.
So every time they were about to do a deal, Jimmy Carter would say, well, what about a Palestinian state? I want that. Oh, and that just threw the whole thing into turmoil. And think of poor Anwar Sadat. He can't be less anti-Israel than an American president. So it just constantly put them back into a ditch. And all the memoirs write about this. Luckily, they overcame it. Anwar Sadat was a great man. He did the treaty anyway. Menachem Begin, Israel's prime minister, wouldn't give in. So we have a peace treaty. But, Jimmy Carter did almost everything he could to blow the whole thing up. And for what? For silliness.
And even after October 7th, Israel still gets bashed like they were some kind of instigator.
Well, let me pose it to you in this fashion. I mean, actually, Kamala did say that, at one point that if she becomes president, she's going to put a stop to the war, almost in so many words. It was a July 25th, 2024 speech. And all the Israeli commentators are saying today, all the things you're seeing on your TV screen, Israel taking out Iran's nuclear capability. And hopefully President Trump will finish the job. And Israel finally breaking the Ayatollahs. None of this would have happened if Kamala had won the election. It's only because President Trump had the courage and the wisdom to give them the green light. But go back to right after the October 7 attack. So just as a quick summary of what happened, you have this hideous, totally unprovoked attack. 1,200 people murdered, many, many women raped, 250 hostages. All the polling showed universal support among the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people regularly refer to Jews as apes and pigs. Anyone can look this up on the internet. If they don't believe me, just type in Jews, apes, and pigs. You'll see, scroll with your mouse. One last fact. The Biden administration budgeted billions of dollars in aid to the Palestinians of Gaza, what they would say the innocent civilians. Okay, let's assume all that happened. Let's have a thought experiment. Let's just change one fact. Let's assume that the people of Gaza were Germans of another era, or I don't know, white South Africans or Ukrainians of another era. In other words, let's assume they were white people instead of people of color. Do you really think the Biden administration would have budgeted billions of dollars to the white supremacists who say Jews are apes and pigs? And hold the thought. Let's carry it all the way through. Let's assume again in this parallel universe, everything the way it happened, but white supremacists instead of Arab supremacists. And let's assume they murdered 1,200 black people and raped black women. And then a Republican said, you know what, I'm going to give billions of dollars in aid to the innocent civilians, the innocent white supremacists who say that blacks are apes and pigs. They'd be rioting in the streets. So what we have here is a classic textbook case of what I call cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance was identified by psychologists. It is a phenomenon where when people have deeply held beliefs and then facts appear that contradict the beliefs, people change the facts, not the beliefs. The Democrats want to believe that people of color are always the victims.
Right.
They want to believe that a white group of privilege, the Jews, are the bad guys. The problem is the fact pattern doesn't even remotely support it, so they change the facts to fit the narrative. That's why you have Barack Obama saying the problem is the unbearable occupation when there was no occupation.
Yep.
Or the New York Times saying Israel's an occupier even though they withdrew from Gaza in 2005. Or calling Israel's relationship with Gaza a blockade or a draconian blockade. I looked it up. There were 67,000 trucks of supplies sent into Gaza from Israel in the year 2022 alone.
Wow.
This is a draconian blockade. They just make stuff up. That's the core problem.
We're talking to Yuri Kaufman, author of the book American Intifada, Israel, the Gaza War, and the New Antisemitism. All right, let's bring it right up to the present now, Yuri. Trump gave the green light. You know, I think here in this country, we're kind of hoping that that's where it stays, just giving the green light and not putting any of our boots on the ground. I don't think anybody wants that, right?
Well, I certainly don't want that, and I don't think anybody wants that, and I know President Trump would never do that. Just so you know, I opposed the Iraq War all the way back in 2003. The problem with the Iraq War was there were boots on the ground, and we engaged in nation building. We thought we could turn Iraq into a Western-style democracy. That was the mistake. In this situation right now in which we are in, no one is talking boots on the ground. No one is talking nation building. No one is pretending that we can somehow recreate Iran in our own image as a liberal democracy. But what we are saying is Iran's nuclear capability can be eliminated. It can finally be taken off the board. We have the B-2s in Diego Garcia, based not far from Iran. If those go in, Israel doesn't have this capability because the B-2s can carry what they call the MOB. The joke is the mother of all bombs. It's like it weighs about 15 tons, of which about 10 tons is pure high explosives. That is the only thing that can just completely take out the nuclear program, and that's what we need to do. There shouldn't be any American casualties. So far, there have been no Israeli casualties. They're just flying in and out. There's no air defense system left there. So this can be done, and it can be done in low cost, and it might save humanity. Because in Iran with a nuclear weapon is not the same as a Russia or a China or even an India or a Pakistan with a nuclear weapon. This is a very different crowd. They might actually up and use one, not just against Israel, but even against us. So it's just critical that President Trump act in this situation. And I think he's going to act. He's certainly hinting that that's what he's going to do.
Well, you don't pull people out of Tehran for nothing, right? So let me ask you a two-part question, Yuri. How crippled is Iran's military capability, and can Israel handle this on their own with their military capability?
Well, Israel has shown an ability to handle Iran militarily on its own. And this is why Israel is such an incredible force multiplier for America. They're definitely the best ally we have. All we do is give them a few $1 billion a year. And in return for that, I mean, just go down the list. They took out Saddam Hussein's nuclear reactor. They took out Bashar's nuclear reactor. They killed a whole string of major terrorists. Now they're dismantling Iran. This is without a single American troop. No American troop has ever had to defend Israel in the way we defend a South Korea, in the way we have to defend a Western Europe. Israel does it all by itself. Now, where Israel cannot get the job done is finishing off the Iran nuclear program, and that's because much of it is deep underground in a place called Fordow. It's about 120 feet below ground in a mountain. Israel simply does not have a bomb big enough to take something like that out. But fortunately, we do. And this is where it's so important that President Trump step in. And again, we're not talking boots on the ground. People talk about surgical airstrikes. Usually it's ridiculous. This is the one instance where a surgical airstrike can actually get the job done.
Wow. This is all very heavy. We're talking to Yuri Kaufman, American Intifada, Israel, the Gaza War, and the New Antisemitism is the name of his book. So I don't understand, Yuri. I will never understand how people, because Israel struck first here, right? They had 60 days to make a deal, a peace deal. On day 61, sorry, time's up. I mean, I don't think there was anything unfair or weird about Israel hitting first.
Well, I wouldn't call this Israel hitting first by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, Iran, through its proxies, has been bombing Israel for close to 2 years now. But more importantly, Iran, in fact, struck Israel first back in April of 2024. They fired off 130 rockets and missiles at Israel. It was the largest missile attack by one country against another in the history of the world. It was 30 cruise missiles. It was 100 ballistic missiles. It was also hundreds of drones. Now, unfortunately, Israel managed to shoot them all out of the sky with our help, of course. But unfortunately, at that point, as you recall, President Biden said, take the win. Let's stop right there. The Israelis wanted to then go back and finish the job, but the Biden administration just wouldn't let them. We now know from sources in Israel that it was 2 days after the election, back in November, when Prime Minister Netanyahu knew that President Trump had won. That's when he gave the order to do this, and they were just waiting for the right moment. President Trump, to his credit, because he doesn't like wars, tried to get a deal done, tried to use diplomacy, but he said, you got 60 days, and then that's it. And Israel really had no choice but to react to Iranian aggression.
Yep. So the first strike clearly was Iran's, right? So I don't know. I just
unquestionably.
Because I saw something.
Unquestionably.
Okay, I saw something on Twitter. It didn't make sense to me that said, when is a first strike defensive? And I if it was Iran that this post is talking about, then okay.
Yeah, Yuri, this is Ken. I just wanted to ask you about, and you may have answered it indirectly, but I'd heard that Iran has a limited amount of ballistic missiles, and at some point they're gonna run out. I mean, just by numbers' sake. Do you think that Israel can outlast them in this war?
There's no question they can outlast them. The fact of the matter is Iran is already scaling back how many missiles it's firing. They fired off like 200 on the first day. They're down to today. They only fired off about 35, and that's because they have to preserve them because they don't want to run out. It's really telling. They want to be able to keep shooting until the last day. That's the key to them. If they're going to argue, well, we were shooting till the last day, so we won, which is, of course, ridiculous. The country's being laid waste. But they don't want a situation where they have nothing left. So they're down to probably, the estimates were there were about 2,000 ballistic missiles. Israel had taken out about 25% of them. They fired off about 500-600. So there's maybe 900 left. But the Israelis are slowly taking out all the launchers. The launchers are the choke point. Can't shoot the rockets without a launcher.
Yeah.
So slowly they're being brought down to zero. And, when they fire off 200 or 300, they have the risk of overwhelming the Israeli system. But when you're down to like 20 or 30 at a time, the Israelis have shown an incredible capability at shooting them out of the sky. And I was just watching Israeli TV a few minutes ago. Iran fired 8 more missiles into Israel just about an hour ago. All 8 were shot right out of the sky.
Right. That
awesome.
Dome is doing its job. So, with Iran, they are would you say they're the number one sponsor of state terrorism in the world? In the globe?
Unquestionably, they most definitely are. They say this openly. One thing you have to say about the Iranians: candor is their only virtue. I mean, they don't make any secret of it. They're trying to create a Shiite caliphate whose capital is Mecca. They are trying to kill the people they deem the infidels. And in this war, Israel is the little Satan. We in America, we're the big Satan.
Yep.
And that is their number one priority. In fact, this is the point that a lot of people just don't understand. If I were to ask you, what is the purpose of government? You'd say the purpose of government, it's to improve the lives of the citizenry. And then you might shrug and say, was that a trick question? I mean, isn't that obvious? Okay, in that part of the world, it's not obvious. In that part of the world, if you ask the Ayatollahs, what's the purpose of government? They say, oh, that's simple. It's to spread radical Shiite Islam. And everything takes a backseat to that. Ayatollah Khomeini, back in the day, famously said the revolution was not about the price of watermelons. He also said economics is for donkeys. And that is because to them, the most important thing is spreading radical Islam. And that is why Iran is a country with 30% unemployment, 40% inflation. They can't even keep the lights on. Even before the attack, they were rolling blackouts. And a country with all that oil, they still can't keep the lights on. And they're sending billions of dollars to Hezbollah, and billions of dollars to the Houthis, and billions of dollars to Hamas, and billions of dollars to the Shiite militias of Iraq. They're spreading money all over the place, all money they don't have. And the net result is the Iranian people have been brought into poverty. I saw one really telling statistic. In 1990, Israel's per capita GDP was about $13,000. Iran's was about $10,000. Fast forward to today, Israel's is over $57,000. Iran's is $3,500. So they've just gone backwards and backwards and backwards, but they don't care. They're still spending billions on all these terror groups because to them, that's the most important thing.
All right, listen, I am the furthest from a scientist, okay? I don't understand science. I hate physics. I hate those stupid videos on Twitter that's, oh, look, physics, and there's someone with a Coke bottle, you know? But when when Israel was hitting Iran's nuclear sites, so when you hit a nuclear site, isn't that kind of like a bomb exploding there on their own land and then the fallout and all that stuff? Like I said, I prefaced it by I don't know anything about science.
No worries. So the Israelis have been very careful in that regard. It wouldn't set off a nuclear explosion. And I'm no expert on this stuff either, right? I don't even know how a can opener works. But the Israelis made sure to destroy Saddam Hussein's nuclear reactor before it went critical, so there'd be no radioactive fallout. They did the same thing with Bashar's reactor in Syria in 2007, which, by the way, if they had not taken out that reactor, it would have fallen into the hands of ISIS during the Civil War, because ISIS conquered that territory. Think about that one.
Yeah.
With respect to Iran, they have made sure not to hit anything that could spread radioactivity, because what it could do is it could become what they call a dirty bomb, where you're spreading, it's not a nuclear explosion, but you're spreading radioactive material all over the place. Now, this is where diplomacy becomes real important. The Iranians already, and this was under President Biden, the Iranians already enriched enough uranium for 9 and perhaps 10 bombs. That enriched uranium is out there, and it's got to be removed. Now, the Israelis, they're saying know where it is, but they're not. If they do, it'll get scattered in every direction and become effectively a dirty bomb. And they don't want to spray radioactive poison all over Iran or wherever it's located. So the hope is that the Iranians, the Ayatollahs, will listen to reason, will listen to President Trump, will listen to Steve Witkoff, and engage in a deal that finally puts this to bed, where they give up this enriched uranium. They certainly don't have any peaceful reason to have it. And then hopefully Iran can go back to being a welcome nation in the family of nations.
And people, there's so many pictures on the internet, on social media, of life before 1979 in Iran, and the women are wearing miniskirts and bikinis and nothing on their heads. I mean, they had a great life out there until the Ayatollah took over.
Yeah, they certainly did. And what people often say is, the Shah, what took the Shah down was not what he did wrong, but what he did right. He was trying to introduce Western reforms. And that involved religious tolerance. It's just that it also involved tolerance for people who were secular. And that drove the Ayatollahs crazy. And at one point, the Shah was warned, actually by a Saudi prince, you must remember you are not the Shah of Italy or France, you're the Shah of Iran. And unfortunately, the crazier elements rose up and took them down. And here we are. Iran is a wreck. They've been through war after war after war. Its public has been completely impoverished. And here's just another point. Israel is flying all over Iran as if they're flying over Tel Aviv. I mean, they're just bombing everything in sight. They haven't lost a single plane. It's mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah.
Okay? You would think that the Iranian people would spill into the streets, shouting for revenge, showing their support for the regime. You're just not seeing that. People are getting in their cars and they're trying to drive out of Tehran.
Wow.
Someone else made this point as well. Initially, the fear was the Iranians are a very, very tough people. And the Ayatollahs take this bizarre sense of pride in the fact that they don't value human life. And they took 1 million killed against Iraq. And the fear is like, how do you get a people like that to stop? But here we are. They are stopping, because it's sort of like Serbia during World War II. Serbia in World War II, the Serbs like the toughest people on earth. I think they lost like 10% of their population fighting the Nazis. But when it came to the NATO bombing them in the 90s, over the whole Serb Yugoslav war, it was over in 3 months. The Serbs gave up. So why were such a tough people so quick to give up? And the answer, I think, is partly when the other side has a weapon that you have absolutely no response for, you're going to give in. But more importantly, it's one thing when you're invaded by the Nazis or by Iraq, as Iran was, then you're going to fight back. But when you're engaging in this crazy war for no reason, shooting rockets at Israel, don't expect your public to stand there for you when you get into trouble.
All right, Yuri, I'd love to talk forever with you about all this stuff, but we got to run. The book is called American Intifada, Israel, and the Gaza War and the New Antisemitism. If things get a little shaky over there and a little weird, we're going to come calling, okay?
I can't wait. It's always great to talk to you guys.
You too. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, before you go, where do we find the book? Amazon? Amazon, right?
Amazon. Always Amazon.
Isn't there a place we can buy it so you make more money and Amazon makes less money?
Would that life were so simple.
All right, we'll go to Amazon. Yuri, thanks so much.
But hurry up and buy it before AI replaces me with a robot.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Too. Yeah.
Thanks, Yuri.
Actually, I think we're kind of safe from AI, don't you think, with what we do?
We might be. Yeah.
I mean, the AI can't say,
We'll know when we walk in one day and there's a replica of you and I in the studio waiting.
All I got to say is it better be handsome.
That's right.
So let's hear Donald Trump from the G7, his short time there. That's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Let's make America rock again.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. This Dr. Randy Tobler segment is brought to you by Advanced Dentistry Now. Doctors Dan Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer, 636-978-0226, or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, EIFS, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
News, analysis, opinion.
Democrats will never win a national election again if they continue to protect criminals more than they do innocent Americans.
101.9 and 94.1.
I worry for people of color.
News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
What is holding up the deal with Canada from your perspective?
It's not so much holding up. I think we have different concepts. I have a tariff concept. Mark has a different concept, which is something that some people like. But we're going to see if we can get to the bottom of it today. I'm a tariff person. I've always been a tariff. It's simple. It's easy. It's precise. And it just goes very quickly. And I think Mark has a more complex idea, but also very good. So we're going to look at both, and we're going to see what we're going to come out with something, hopefully.
Do you think a deal is achievable within days, within weeks? Is there that kind of runway?
Yeah, it's achievable. Both parties have to agree. Yeah, sure.
Is there that sort of runway? I hate when they have to use their little stupid euphemisms, you know?
Right.
Do we have some kind of runway? You know what? President Trump, when it's all said and done, the media, the
legacy
Pfizer media are going to say, we should have kept their mouths shut. They're going to say we should have just shut up.
Yeah.
And wait till results, because they're talking about tariffs that the final outcome isn't there yet.
No, I mean, if you can imagine, like, for example, the Today Show, months ago, they were talking about, well, tariffs are affecting people. No, they aren't.
Right.
No tariffs are affecting anybody right now.
Right.
They're just not.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say that, you're really being disingenuous. In fact, you're being a propagandist, which, by the way, our news source on the top of the hour, Town Hall, they referred to the person in Iran that at the news place, the anchor, supposedly, a propagandist. I think that's a great term. Instead of calling our NBC anchors NBC propagandists.
I'm all for that.
Great.
I'm all for that.
Legacy Pfizer media and propagandists.
First of all, they jump the gun on everything. And second of all, they say, these tariffs could hurt Americans.
Right.
Might just hurt Americans. They can't even be specific or definitive about anything.
And I have to admit something. We were at Sam's last night, and actually a customer there, I just overheard her talking, and it reminded me of who raised all these prices, why prices are so high. Mm-hmm. People keep saying, oh, see, Trump wanted to bring them prices down. Well, you can't. It's not that easy. You got to bring all kinds of things down. Things have to go file into place. Energy. There's a lot of stuff involved. So it takes time.
When Operation Desert Shield turned into Operation Desert Storm, immediately the gas prices went up.
Immediately, yeah.
So,
but it's not going to go down. Is my?
I get your point, but my point is, there was no way that very day or the next day affected the price of gasoline at your local Quick Trip.
Right, exactly right. And these people were having a conversation. And I was just kind of listening while I was looking at clothes. Yeah. I didn't want clothes there, but So I'm listening, and she said, well, no, you're getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Joe Biden's prices went so high? The prices were going up repeatedly every month for I don't know how long during the Biden administration. Well, then now they're there. They need to come down, yes, but it takes time.
And the Democrats, they rely so much on the media sticking up for them, lying for them.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And that was so crystal clear when Joe Biden was being interviewed by, I think it might have been Nora O'Donnell from CBS. I'm not sure, but he said, we inherited 19% inflation or 14% or whatever.
Something really, really high, yeah.
Expecting the mainstream media person to say, "Oh, that's right," but she didn't. So you got to give her credit for that.
So 14 months into his presidency, it was all him, or well, it was all the Biden administration. We're finding out it was many people involved, but it was 9.1% inflation rate. And prices have gone up every month, just about in the whole term of the Biden administration. So it takes time to go down, and it's going to happen, but we just have to be patient.
All right, let's play number 5, Ken, because now we're getting into the Iran-Israel conflict. I mean, is this a war? What do we even say here? Conflict, war, police action?
I say it's a war.
Okay. President Trump on the G summit and why he left. And hey, I haven't heard from Iran.
Have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Yeah.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal. And it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
So they had 60 days, right? Now they want to talk. So they want to talk and have peace talks now so that they can reload, right?
Yeah.
Reposition, re-strategize. Sorry, your 60 days are over. What do you want? I mean, what do you want from the guy?
Well, we heard Yuri Kaufman talking about the platforms that they use to shoot these ballistic missiles, and Israel is taking them out.
Mm-hmm.
They're not stupid. They've been planning this for a very long time, Vic. And now Iran's probably saying, oh, okay, we've got to reposition, like you said, and they can't. They just don't have time because they keep hitting them.
Yep. And, I'm sorry, I can't get it out of my head. If even during wars, right? During the Persian Gulf War, there was a general named Kelly who did a 10 a.m. briefing every day from Saudi Arabia or wherever they were. And one of the reporters actually asked him, when and where are we going to attack?
Yeah.
And he says, you think Saddam Hussein doesn't have a television set? Are you stupid? He didn't say that.
Right.
But in other words.
Right.
And it's not about the news. It's all about getting the scoop, being the next big thing, All these reporters want to be the next big reporter, investigative reporter.
Well, just remember, just based on what you just said, remember back during the ground war of Iraq when they were embedded, and they were on CNN, they were posting things saying, live video showing like where they were.
Right.
And they were getting a lot of pushback. This was before a lot of the internet and everything, but they were getting pushback from people all the time about that.
Do you remember Mogadishu when the American warship was going towards the thing, when there's all these lights and it looked like a press conference going on the beach? It's like, gee, thanks for letting them know where we're going to land.
Right.
I don't know. I'm so done with them all. I just really am. And I'm done.
I think when you focus, I think what like, for example, Pete Hegseth is focusing on lethality in our military. Get the media out to a certain degree. Just get them away from it. Let them do their job. Let them do their job, and it'll get done. I mean, I don't know how it's so simple, but
when Joe Biden was president and the recruitment videos were of somebody gay or somebody trans, because it's funny, you just said lethality. I never heard that word one time in 4 years of Joe Biden, that our fighting force should have lethality. I never heard that word.
No, it needs to be diverse.
Right.
That's what we heard.
Diverse, and will be slaves to another country, or lethality, and we're the kings.
Right.
And that's it. Want to have a no kings rally? Bite me. Is that okay to say?
Oh, yeah. You have a right to say it. You've got a First Amendment right.
That's right. I also have a boss, though, that can say, get your First Amendment right away from my microphone. The guy that we featured during I Heard It on the X, I don't even think he knows we did this unless he's listening. Drew Thomas Allen, he's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
We demand a lower work week, 32-hour work week.
Very well, we'll give them shorter hours. We'll start by cutting their lunch hour to 20 minutes.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. This is 1019 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
This is Katie McKinney, founder and head of school for Lafayette Academy in Lake St. Louis. Recently, we had a new second grader come to Lafayette Academy who claimed he was stupid and hated reading. Within months of using our world-class literacy program, he was reading Harry Potter and loving it. He had just not been given the right tools. We invite you to our open house Wednesday, June 25th from 5 till 7 and hear from our current families and learn more about our dedicated teachers and world-class curriculum. To learn more, go to LafayetteAcademy.org. That's LafayetteAcademy.org.
For 3 generations, one family has ruled the road in quality asphalt paving. Ruby's King of the Road Hot Mix Asphalt Paving. Family owned and operated. We're your leading authority for driveways, lanes, and parking areas. No project is too small or too large. We cater to both residential and commercial needs with unbeatable quality at just $38 per square yard plus labor. Call 636-295-9949. 636-295-9949. Ruby's King of the Road Hot Mix Asphalt Paving. You save when we pave.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Fox News commentary.
The latest poll numbers are in, and guess how many Americans still support Trump's immigration approach? I'm Tommy Lahren. Find out next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us, and it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Gave you the pre-LA riot percentage of Americans who support the president's approach to immigration. That was the CBS YouGov poll, which showed 54% of U.S. adults approve of the deportation effort. But the left was so sure the LA raids and riots, plus their nationwide protests, would skew those numbers, and they insisted Trump would be underwater. You ready for it? According to the NBC News Decision Desk survey, 51% of Americans polled still support the president's handling of immigration. Yes, still a majority. So chew on that one, Democrats. This is further proof that rioting or marching in the streets with Trump piñatas and stupid signs has actually done nothing to advance the purported cause. Let me repeat, mass deportations are exactly what we voted for. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
$18 million more for Sam Page for animal shelter upgrades? David Stokes of the Show Me Institute to discuss at 4:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. This hour of the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Hi, it's Tom Shalhoub. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Thank you, Tom. All right, every Tuesday, we talk to a guy who, and I just realized, okay, so a little behind the curtain stuff, right? When we have a guest on, Ken contacts them. Sometimes it's on the phone. Today it's on this magical thing we call Opal that makes it sound like, people are right in the room with us. And I just realized that Drew Thomas Allen is the snarkiest, best person on X.
Yeah.
So let's get him going.
Drew Allen of the Drew Allen Show podcast.
It's people who love this country and respect freedom and want to preserve it for the future. It really shouldn't be political.
Amico mio, come stai?
Ciao, buongiorno, Ciccio. Sono molto contento.
You got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of me speaking Italian.
Not getting rid of that.
Because Drew makes fun of me. It's Hi, Drew. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
So we have this feature every Tuesday. It's called I Heard It on the X. And it's just, posts we see on X as we scroll through. And last night, I couldn't get away from you. Your posts were all over the place. And I said to Ken, what if we just do all Drew? And he says, yeah. So congratulations. You're the first person we did that for. Hope you're happy.
Well, it's an honor. I appreciate it.
So let's go through some of them. Imagine being a pro-Hitler Holocaust denier who, when not attacking Israel, spends all her energy investigating whether the French president's wife has balls. Sorry, Candace, you're the one out of touch. You and Candace are going at it. I love it.
Yeah, I'll never book any of my clients on her show again, but I don't really care. That's the thing about my space, right? Actually, I honestly shouldn't be making comments like this all the time on my ex because I'm a publicist, right? but I don't care. I like the country more than my job, I guess. So yeah, I'm so tired of this. There are people like Candace Owens, and there's no reason to hold back anymore. There's a whole slew of them now. And the problem with Candace is not that she would come out in some capacity against even going after Iran's nuclear problem. It's that her beliefs are rooted in clear anti-Semitism. There's no debate about whether or not Candace Owens is anti-Semitic. Think about this. So she's an American. She kind of became famous because she tackled issues that related to, the conservative cause and Trump and so on and so forth in the beginning. And the reality is she's a Black conservative, and we like that. That is a good thing, and it definitely helped to boost her. And now she doesn't take issue with anything going on in the country. She doesn't talk about illegal immigration. She doesn't talk about the 2020 steal. She doesn't talk about any of problems that we've inherited from the Biden administration. She spends her entire time and energy on her show engaged in conspiracy theories, concerned about whether or not the French president's wife is a man or a woman, a biological man or woman. And when she's not doing that, she's putting out obvious contempt for Jews and their history and talking about basically, it's really despicable. So I didn't realize that we had 10% Nazis on the right.
Didn't she too, Drew? Didn't Candace Owens early in her, I don't want to say career, but exposure where everybody found out about, didn't she kind of play the race card in something?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, but I was being polite. She's a Black conservative, so obviously she did that. She supposedly was a liberal in the past, and she's a moderately attractive, female, and of course she did. She wrote a book called Blackout, which is all about how Blacks are treated if they become conservatives and so on and so forth. And she's a perpetual victim, by the way. I don't know if you read her posts and see how she responds. She stirs the pot and attacks, and then she uses the defensive mechanism. She makes herself the victim every time. But I don't care. I don't have a tolerance for this anti-Semitism, and it gets blurred a little bit. I'm not a special pleader in the sense that Jews get special privileges above other Americans in the country. That's not my perspective at all. But the same way I would say you shouldn't speak about black people or white people or anyone else, you shouldn't speak about Jews. And somehow now Jews, it's like open season. And everything from these people is, let me just put it this way. Is Israel a perfect country? No. Is the U.S. a perfect country? Is there a perfect country? No. But if you want to compare Israel to Hamas or Israel to Iran, it's obvious that Israel's not the bad guy when you compare those two nations. And yet these people exclusively condemn, and they talk about, Candace is out there, this represents the bloodlust of the Israelis, and it's time somebody put a stop to them. These people are despicable. It's like, you're talking about Iran, which sponsors Hamas exclusively. They fund the Hamas operation. October 7th happened. You've got Iran, which, by the way, these people don't seem to care about history either, because Iran before 1979 was actually peaceful. They got along with Jews in Israel. They got along with the West in the United States. And their government was overthrown, of course, by the mullahs and the radical lunatics that have created a theocracy where they replaced Iran. Iran was Persia, and then it became this modern nation of Iran as we know it. And it's what we see today. These people are out there saying, yeah, we want a nuclear weapon so we can bomb Israel and wipe them off the face of the earth. And so people are asking the wrong questions here, too. They're like, ooh, do we support regime? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Donald Trump's not talking about regime change. The only question you need to ask yourself is this. Should Iran be allowed to attain nuclear weapons? Just answer that question for me first, and then let's go from there.
Right. And that's the most important thing, that one question. And Donald Trump, I will say it again, promises made, promises kept. He is saying exactly what he said on the campaign trail, Drew, that he is going to not allow Iran in any way, shape, or form to get a nuclear weapon, because if they do that, Israel's gone. And then so is cities in the United States, because they're going to go after the big demon, the big devil that they call
Satan.
The great Satan. Yeah, right. Next.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
There you go.
Well, look, I've got 55 quotes. That's the exact number. I have 55 quotes in front of me on my phone of Donald Trump saying Iran can't be allowed to attain a nuclear weapon, and that goes back to 2011. So here's the thing too. I can't believe the arrogance, and it's really just the punditry class that thinks that they're so arrogant. They think they're smarter than Trump. These people are reluctant MAGA supporters. So look, I'm sorry to do this. I put clients on Tucker Carlson all the time, but whatever. Like I said, I don't care about the job right now, I guess. But, these people didn't ever really like Trump to begin with. Now, let me say this first. I did not support Trump early in 2016. I was like a lot of people that thought, what the heck? This guy's like rude and he's mean. And, I kind of like Ted Cruz. And I was wrong. Okay. I was wrong. But ever since he won the election or became the nominee, I have supported Trump. And these people only supported Trump because Daddy Trump was the best thing, for them at the moment. They've always looked for opportunities to undercut him and everything else, but they didn't have a choice because these people are the quintessential grifters. So they're not interested really in principle or policy or support or the country per se. They're just interested in taking positions that are going to get them views or clicks or further their careers. And some of them are just have these diabolical beliefs anyway, but they realize the only way they could benefit and get ahead in their careers is to hitch their wagon to Donald Trump, and then they're always looking for a reason to stab him in the back. And that's what's happening right now with these so-called pundits. And MAGA never meant America only. It means America first, but that doesn't mean that we're isolationists now, and that's in the best interest of the country either. Now, I want to be clear too. When I take this position and we're having this conversation right now, it doesn't mean I'm advocating for the Navy SEALs and the Marines to go into Iran and start blowing stuff up and dying. War is hell. War is atrocious. I do not want blood pouring out on foreign soil. That's not what we're advocating for either. But that's not what's happening right now. And World War III does not appear to be coming soon. Iran is getting just the hell beaten out of them right now. I mean, strategically, we're not bombing all their cities and killing their civilians, but they obviously are outmatched right now. And look, you cannot separate the ties between Israel and the U.S. You know, there are people, I mean, look, their weaponry comes from us. We have supported Israel. So obviously the U.S. is involved in this to some capacity. Israel was never going to go along without any U.S. backing. And so there's kind of a strategic game, and it's a little clever right now. It's being played. But, you know, this is not Iraq. We're not talking about that situation. My opinion will change if it gets to a certain point, but that's not what we're talking about here. And for people to pretend like Iran with an N is the same thing as Iraq with a Q, that's insane. Yep. Ukraine is not Israel either.
Yep. You put that in a post that people are confusing the N and the Q in one of your posts. I just want to say something because my memory, Drew, is scattered. You know, sometimes I can't think of something that I had in my head 2 seconds ago, but I remember things from the past. And I think I remember, and this was when we were at the Powerhouse, King, because I remember hearing Drew say this, that being on this show, which has been the MAGA show from the beginning, you were like, yeah, you guys are right. You know, I'm going to put my support behind Trump. So I think we actually had something to do with your support of Donald Trump.
Well, of course. I mean, you know, just like I deserve credit for your Italian speaking abilities or inabilities.
That's right.
I'm either a successful or failed teacher. I don't know, but
there's got to be a low blow somewhere.
Look, this show, I do want to give you all credit. You know, I mean, I really feel privileged to come on here every week, and it's amazing. I like to think that if I wasn't moderately good, you know, you kick me off anyway. So I tell myself, I'm
immediately.
Because the show matters and your audience matters more than any guest. And, you know, you guys have been really staunch supporters. But, you know, it's not that we're sitting here blind. It's not that there's no criticism. I do criticize the Trump administration. On certain things.
We do too. We do also, Drew.
But for God's sake, like, this is can you imagine some other president being in the situation right now that we've inherited from? Look, this situation goes back to the Obama years when they appeased Iran and allowed them to continue to progress with their nuclear program. I mean, remember, the Obama administration, Barack Obama sent pallets of cash, billions, like literally cash on a plane over to Iran to fund them. And we know that Iran kills Americans. It kills, obviously, Jews. It funds terrorism around the world. So to pretend like Iran are the good guys here, I mean, this was inevitable. Like, what was going to happen? Iran wasn't going to change course. They're out there shouting death to America. And we know they're pursuing nuclear weapons. And I don't know where now they're trying to act like this is Iraq. Like, oh, no, like, yeah, for, 20 years they've been pursuing nuclear weapons, but actually that was a lie for 20 years. Like, get the heck out of here.
Right.
All right. A couple of more posts of you on X. Candace Owen hates Jews. That's the whole post. This is what you're just talking about, Drew. Iran has an N, not a Q. Iraq is a different country than Iran. People seem confused. You're right about that.
Yeah. And it's, look, you can. Again, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think to say is, like, the only question that matters is, okay, should Iran be allowed to have nuclear weapons? And if the answer is no, then there's some action has to be taken. And what I hope is that obviously Israel can, basically denuclearize them themselves with what's going on, with some of our support with us, but like no boots on the ground. And also, no one's talking about going in and having another 20-year war. This is not indicative of Donald Trump betraying anybody. The only people that are betraying are these fake MAGA pansy posers,
right?
That are ready to walk away from Donald Trump because of this. You know, he ran on America first, which means protecting America and our interests abroad. A nuclear Iran cannot exist.
Well, Drew, I have real simple. I mean, I'm watching this stuff on social media and on X and also on Facebook and a couple of others. And mine are real short. I just say, sure, liar. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. These people were DeSantis fans when they decided to move away from Trump and then come back to Trump when he was winning. You know, they're just weak-kneed. Yep. That's all there is to it.
Well, it's sick, and these people are trying to. Well, they're never going to do it because they don't actually represent enough people. But these people think that they represent MAGA. Donald Trump is MAGA. He's the one who came up with MAGA. So all these people that want to pretend that they were MAGA first, like, get out of here. You hitched your wagon. You were nothing. So anyway, I had something else to say, but I forgot.
That's okay.
I'm so fed up.
That's okay. We're running out of time. But I do want you to do me a favor. we stream our show, video of our show on YouTube, on
X, Instagram, Facebook,
all that stuff. And if you could go to our stream about midway through our conversation with you, I had Ken put up a face up there of a young girl, 10-year-old girl. Her name was Channa Blum, who died at the age of 10 in the Warsaw Ghetto. And Drew, I don't know. I think this is a spiritual thing for me. You know, I look at this girl's face, and for some reason, it talks to me, and I think that she's some kind of angel for me. I don't know why or what, if that even makes sense. But I want you to do that. I want you to look at her face and think of your buddy Vic. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Drew. Hey, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for the extra break you gave us today about the X thing. And we'll talk next week, my friend.
Hey, God bless y'all. God bless Trump and this country.
Hey, God bless you, Drew. See ya.
All right. Our Vic for Vets. Ken, I'm so glad we're doing this because veterans don't get enough attention.
Right.
So that's next. It's Vic for Vets on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
Jamie Allman here with the Allman Report. Pleased to be with Jordan Rosenblum. Google the bagel loan. That's what it's all about. Jordan, tell me about purchasing a home, brother.
Purchasing a home right now, it's a tough market. You're going to see a lot of competition. On the bagel loan that we have, you're going to have no closing costs, no title fees, no appraisal fees, no lender fees. Saves an average client almost $4,000 on a transaction. Customer service, unbelievable. Text, call anytime.
As I know, as a real estate agent, Google the bagel loan. Google the bagel loan, folks.
NMLS number 226715.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
KL2I HD3 Clay, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump says when it comes to Iran's conflict with Israel, he's looking for something he calls better than a ceasefire.
And then a real end, not a ceasefire. And then
So something that will be permanent.
or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Rich Thomason reports it does appear Israel's attacks have already taken a toll on Iran's nuclear weapons program.
Israel's airstrikes have had direct impacts on Iran's principal uranium enrichment facility, including its underground centrifuge halls. That's the conclusion of the UN's nuclear watchdog. Israel has been hammering the Natanz site, as well as targets in Tehran, sending residents fleeing the city. Iran has been hitting back, firing missiles at Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Rich Thomason, Washington.
Signs of warming trade relations after President Trump spoke with the British Prime Minister Starmer on the sidelines of the G7 summit.
At the G7 summit in Canada, the two leaders said they had signed a trade deal that will slash tariffs on UK auto and aerospace industry imports. The president called it a fair deal for both that will allow for greater access to the British market for U.S. products, including beef and ethanol. Starmer said it was a very good day. Despite the announcement, the two countries still are discussing how to handle steel production and pharmaceuticals. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Americans are pulling a little more tightly on their purse strings.
The Commerce Department says retail sales fell sharply last month as consumers decreased their spending after a sharp increase in March to get ahead of President Trump's tariffs. Sales at retail stores and restaurants dropped nearly 1% in May. That compares with a decline of 0.1% in April.
And that is correspondent Mike Hempen reporting slow going so far on Wall Street. The Dow is off by 67 points. The Nasdaq down by 52. More on these stories at townhall.com.
3 years ago, I wrapped up a run of Annie playing Daddy Warbucks with the South Carolina Children's Theater. I was about 40, 50 pounds overweight, tired, sick, fed up with the way I felt. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I had to do something. I scheduled my weight loss consultation with PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. And as they say, the rest is history. Just a few months, I lost over 50 pounds. I took control of my health. 3 years later, I've kept the weight off and I feel better than ever. If you are where I was, do what I did. Call PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. It'll change your life. It's fast and simple. They won't let you fail. Just give them a call at 855-696-2020 to schedule your weight loss consultation. That's 855-696-2020. 855-696-2020. Here's the best part. First 11 callers who mention the keyword healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Don't wait. Call today. 855-696-2020. Mention healthy to get 2 free weeks or visit them at myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Hey, if you're 50 or older, you do not want to take any risk with your money. In fact, you want Leslie Consulting. My friend Bob Leslie can show you a gain and retain plan. Means that you never lose. Plus, you get up to a 20% bonus on day one. Leslie Consulting, a leader in brokerage and risk management. 314-721-0066. LeslieConsulting.com.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colonies.
Sweet, I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, oh, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888 to learn more about our special $67 offer.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Summer is here, and that means it's time to gear up at Whistle Pig Outdoors on Main in Troy. Mike Ferguson here for my friends at Whistle Pig Outdoors, family owned and operated by hunters who know their stuff. Beat the heat with premium Costa sunglasses and American-made Grizzly coolers that keep everything ice cold. Upgrade your bow at their full-service archery shop. Expert technician on staff for Hoyt and Bear bows. Call 636-775-1110 or visit Main Street in Troy. Whistle Pig Outdoors, your year-round outdoor headquarters.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by the Trolley Stop Bakery, the official bakery of the Vic Porcelli Show. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
For a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough.
We squeeze in a dry hump day under partly sunny skies.
From New Jersey to Baldwin, Missouri, to behind the microphone, taking the whoosh to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Here he is, Vic Porcelli.
Yep, cutesy time is over. That's for darn sure. Carrying on the Dan Bongino credo of cutesy time is over. So, I don't know. We'll talk about this Israeli. The whole thing, just people that would stick up for Iran in this thing are just stupid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But yeah.
And if you're listening right now and you're on Iran's side, maybe you got the wrong show.
Not
right.
Maybe.
No, you definitely have the wrong
Right.
show. All right. So it is time for Vic for Vets. 2 veterans to honor today. Submitted by Tim Childs. Thank you, Tim, for getting involved. Vic and Ken, I would like to share the names of 2 brothers who both enlisted in the military to fight for our freedom in the build-up to and after our declaration of war in World War II. I never had the opportunity to meet Ernest. I'm sorry, I never read their names, did I? Ernest R. Kuma and Sergeant Major Tony B. Kuma, and I hope they're saying their names right. I had the pleasure of spending time. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back. I'm so sorry, guys. I never had the opportunity to meet Ernest, but Tony was married to my second cousin, Mary. I had the pleasure of spending time with him and his family in California while I was stationed in Camp Pendleton. So hold on. So Tim is a veteran himself. So,
Yeah.
Tim, thank you for serving too. We don't want to forget you. I was at Camp Pendleton from 1983 to 1985. He was a great big man with just as big a heart. Ernest was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, and Tony earned the Navy Cross, which is one step below the Medal of Honor. Hearing Tony describe the details of what his brother went through, and after much prodding on my part, what he went through to earn their respective medals, was chilling and awe-inspiring at the same time. It was amazing to me initially that brothers would both earn such honors and neither posthumously.
Right.
Very lucky they both came back. After spending time with him and his family, I came to understand the type of character it takes to be these men. Yeah. I know you plan to honor one veteran each day. I would appreciate if you could take the time to mention them both at the same time so listeners can understand the level of courage, honor, and devotion to country demonstrated by these two young men, brothers from one family. If I may, I would also like to give a mention for Ashley Babbitt. You bet. Ashley Babbitt had a 12-year military career in the Air Force, primarily serving as an enlisted security forces controller. She enlisted after high school and served from 2004 to 2016, including deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq. During her active duty, she met her first husband, Staff Sergeant Timothy McEntee. Babbitt also served in the Air National Guard, including a 6-year stint with the Capitol Guardians, a unit responsible for defending the Washington, D.C. region. She reached the rank of senior airman. Thanks, Tim. Vic for Vets couldn't be done without the support of our friends at DG Firearms, Patriot Heating and Cooling, and Best Buy Flooring. You know, there's always the question of males in the military and how many other males are in that family to carry on that name.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So it doesn't say here, but Ernest and Sergeant Ernest Kuma and Sergeant Major Tony Kuma must have had another brother, or they wouldn't let them both fight, right?
Yeah, when was that rule? Because it had to do with a family that lost 4 sons. It was either in World War I or World War II.
Saving Private Ryan was World War II.
Okay.
And the lady, you see the guy, the man in uniform comes to her house to tell her that her 4 sons were all killed in the war, and then there was one left, Private Ryan. So, but you know, when you have a family and you have 2 members of your family, 2 of your kids go and fight and they both make it back, that's a blessing from God.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So thank you for the note, Tim. Hey, Ken, a lot of people, I think, want to honor family, friends on our Vic for Vets. How would they do that?
Just send information to me, Ken at NewstalkSTL.com. It's basically name, rank, branch of service, and any information, any stories that you might have. And I got to tell you, thank you so much for those who have sent information. I've got quite a few, and it's almost overwhelming to read some of these.
Tell me about it.
And that's why we're putting it out here, and we're going to continue to do it beyond the Veterans Month of June. But we're going to do it once a week, forever, for as long as we can.
I'm good with forever.
For as long as they'll let us do it anyway. So Ken at NewstalkSTL.com, please do so.
And again, our supporters, DG Firearms, Patriot Heating and Cooling, and Best Buy Flooring, thank you so much for allowing us to honor our veterans, living and dead, by the way. There are plenty of, yesterday we did a Civil War soldier.
Yeah.
Civil War.
Right. And we're going to put up a gallery. So here's another thing, and we don't mention it every time, but please, if you've got photos, I'm getting a lot of photos now. And it's great
Right.
because we're going to create a gallery, and I'm going to try and find a way to put their names on everything, put the individuals' names on their photos and stuff.
So photos of a bunch of guys standing in front of a tank, right?
Yeah, stuff like
or
that.
in front of a plane.
Actually, the Civil War veteran has there's a tombstone of him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can't be happier that we're allowed to do this, that you guys are embracing this and getting involved. And by the way, Tim, well done throwing Ashley Babbitt a shout out.
Yes.
The only person that was actually murdered or died on January 6th, 2001. No, 2021. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
I think there was another woman who died on the steps.
That's right. She got crushed.
Trampled on, yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, Ken. The Israel-Iran situation, conflict, war, whatever you want to call it, has taken over the whole news cycle. But I want to talk a little bit about the riots in L.A.
Yeah.
Which are not peaceful protests. There's a kid who works for, I call him a kid because he looks like a kid and cries like a baby. He works for NBC News. He's got glasses and brown or black hair, dark hair. And he was walking through the streets of Los Angeles, convincing us that it was a peaceful protest. And anything to the contrary is just not true.
Right.
And this is not just wrong information. It's unfair.
And dangerous, I would say.
And dangerous to people who are in law enforcement. So if you're in this country illegally, once again, you're listening to the wrong show.
Yeah.
Unless you want to self-deport.
No, that'd be great. And there are actually, I've just read that there are a lot of people, over 1 million have done that so far.
Self-deport?
Yeah.
That's great.
That's really good. But it's still not even close. It's not even 10% of what Obama, Clinton, Bush, Biden, the Biden administration, I guess, deported. It's not even close. So President Trump has a lot of work to do, and we need to help him.
Can you play cut number 9 for me, Ken?
Yeah.
It's Mayor Karen Bass, who I will say again was a big fan and studied under Fidel Castro, and somehow became the mayor of Los Angeles. How does that even happen?
Oh yeah, and this is all documented information.
She's saying that if President Trump continues to enforce laws, her voters will continue to riot. She said,
but the real solution of all of this is for the administration to stop the raids. We have heard that these raids might take place for the next 30 days. We don't know how many are going to take place in a given day. And you just think about the disruption to families and the disruption to our local economy.
Okay, what we should be thinking about is the disruption to American families, disruption to the money that's not coming in for us because it's coming in for all these illegals. That's what we should be worrying about, Karen Bass.
Ken, my hearing's not so good. Could you play that again? So
Yes.
I can pick up a couple of things I might have missed.
But the real solution of all of this is for the administration to stop the raids.
Stop the raids. I don't like the word raid anymore because they're not conducting raids. They're conducting arrests of people who are breaking the law.
Good point. Good pickup. Yeah.
And I don't know. I still don't understand why the left, the media, everybody in Congress and Senate, and anybody in Washington, D.C. who's a Democrat doesn't understand that breaking the law is breaking the law.
You just identified a key word that the Democrats are using that we didn't pick up on, but raids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that word, that shouldn't be used.
It makes it sound Gestapo, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yep. All right. Let's hear the rest of that.
We have heard that these raids might take place for the next 30 days.
Stop. Karen, Linda, Karen, these raids will continue indefinitely, not just for 30 days.
Yeah.
Indefinitely. Once we get a grip on all the illegals who are here and deport them, and I'm not saying all of them, but as many as we can, then we can talk about some sort of maintenance program, some kind of maintenance, surveillance, and enforcement.
What she's claiming, Vic, is that businesses are suffering because ICE is there. I mean, that's what she's saying. But
say
in
that again.
Businesses, local businesses, are suffering, and the people are suffering there because ICE is there.
Oh, taking their workers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but disrupting just the flow of just people living in the area. I mean, they're disrupting. They're creating protests, Vic. That's all they're doing, and it's not true. I mean, none of it's true.
Right. All right. Let's hear the rest of that.
We don't know how many are going to take place in a given day. And you just think about the disruption to families and the disruption to our local economy.
Okay. Again, I'll go back to what I said. What about the disruption to the American people?
I'm confused about something. Who's going to do these jobs? Who's going to pick the crops? Who's going to do the jobs we don't want to do? I remember when I was young, growing up in Bloomfield, New Jersey, we worked anywhere somebody would hire us, you know?
Oh, yeah.
When it was my age, there was a golf course, the Glen Ridge Country Club, I think it was called, on Broad Street in Bloomfield, and people would be caddies, you know?
Yeah.
And you had to get your working papers. I remember that was the thing. You had to get your working papers from the county government or the state government to work.
Yeah.
And we would go be caddies, you know, and the guys would tip us and we'd carry the bags and all that stuff. That's when we were really young. Then when I was in high school, my friend Sal and I both worked at a place called Sid's Deli, or Sid's Luncheonette. And we were 15, maybe 16, but he trusted us. Saturdays, it was just me and Sal.
Can we take apart what you're saying right now for just a second? Because it's so important. This is like one of the most important things. We've had an influx of millions of people driving down wages. Because of the influx of illegal aliens, our wages are going down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really a realistic, documented fact. And you mentioned about when you were first starting out and you needed a job, you did anything. I popped popcorn for a cinema, a job that they would say probably today, oh, well, let someone else do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What about me cleaning the pool?
Yeah.
I mean, before and after high school, I would ride my bike to this apartment complex and clean the pool out for them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a job now that they'd say, well, you know, you don't want to do that job. Of course we do. We need these jobs, especially if we're just starting out like you're talking about, Vic.
That's the whole thing. And this gets back to the minimum wage. You know, a job at McDonald's is not supposed to feed a family of 4.
No.
A job at McDonald's is a high school kid or a kid who works there a couple hours after school, you know? And to make a statement like, well, who will do these jobs? Who will do these terrible jobs? Only immigrants will do these terrible jobs. No, there are kids who will do it.
Yeah, people who are very much in need of income. They're, you know, a college or high school student needs an income.
Yeah.
You know, parents can't afford to pay off everything that a high schooler needs.
And there's also, in quotes, jobs that I had. Girlfriend I had in all through high school. Her father was a mason, you know, cement, and I would go work with him on Saturday mornings, 6:00 in the morning. That's when I started drinking coffee, actually. And I'd mix cement and all that stuff. And then he also had another business that was delivering packages, not boxes, but more envelope stuff. And it was
who did this job?
Well, I did for my girlfriend's father.
Oh, wow.
It was called Rapidity, was the name of the company. She had they had a phone for the rest of the house, and then the yellow phone in this room was just for Rapidity. And it would be like, okay, so you got to go to Teaneck and pick up this envelope and drive it into Manhattan. And I used to love driving into Manhattan. I just loved it. And drop it off you can double park, you know, you can do whatever you want.
I didn't know you did all that.
Yeah. Oh, Ken, if I ever laid it all out, I can't believe how many jobs I had. So anyway, that wasn't a job where I had to, you know, do any W-2 forms or anything like that. He just paid me cash.
Right.
You know, there's jobs like that, but that's not a job, but doing work for somebody else, you know, and mixing cement is like the worst
Oh, horrible.
6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. I
Yeah.
just didn't want to do it. That's why I wanted to do the other thing, the rapidity thing. But anyway, there's things to do, you know. Sal and I worked at this luncheonette. We poured coffee and we made bacon and eggs.
You needed to make money, Vic. If you're an enterprising young man or woman and you're in high school, you want to make money. You want to, you know what my parents would say to me? I just like it was yesterday. They'd say, yeah, you can use the car if you can pay for the gas.
Of course.
Well, what am I going to do? Not work?
Right.
So I decided, you know what? I'm going to work every day. And I made pretty good money as a high school student. And I was only making probably $2.35 an hour.
So can I just tell a quick story here? We got time for a quick story?
Yeah.
So Sal and I worked at this luncheonette. And on Saturdays, there was literally just me and him. We waited on people. We did the short order, cook stuff, you know, all that. And Sal, this one Saturday, Sal was in the kitchen washing the pots and the pans and everything. And I don't know if everybody does this, but this luncheonette, before you go in and order anything with bacon, they would put it in the oven first and heat it up, you know, kind of almost semi-cook it.
Yeah.
So that way when you put it on the grill, it doesn't take forever to grill the bacon.
Right.
So I put the bacon in the oven and I turned on the gas thing. And I'm like, oh, Sal, I don't have a match. I'll be right back. So I walk through the store, right? Fill up a couple of coffees halfway, check a couple of people out, got some matches, went back to the kitchen.
Holy cow.
I lit the match and it was the flame shot across the kitchen.
Yeah.
It knocked Sal into the wall. All the pots and pans are falling on his head. It singed hair off my arm.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But we could have died.
Yeah.
Because I'm an idiot.
Well, but see that you learned on the job.
Yeah.
That's called industrial knowledge.
Yeah.
At some point, then you realize, well, I could tell other people not to do that.
Don't do that. It's on the job training is what it is.
That's right.
So anyway, so I did that. Drugstores, worked at drugstores. I was Chuck E. Cheese. I told you that before, right?
Well, the reason why I asked you about the messenger thing is I worked at Access Courier here in St. Louis.
Oh.
And I actually rode bikes downtown delivering packages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to, at this drugstore I worked at, they delivered prescriptions, and I did that on a bike. And this is crazy, but there's an intersection in the southern end of Bloomfield where it's one street is called Soho, and one street is called Brighton. From Soho down to Brighton.
Yeah.
I must have played them all. Pinball Wizard. So anyway, get a job, okay? I don't want to hear it.
Well, what I want to hear is them to remove illegal aliens.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. So we can get back to normal in this country. It's not normal right now.
It's not normal, Ken. And the left uses that phrase wrong. It's not normal. They're not normal. It's
No,
not us that's
they're
not normal.
Yeah. And normal is not racist.
Correct. All right. Chat box 1141. All coming up on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Whoosh.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Vic and Ken. Vic brings the thunder. Ken steals the thunder. Ken, Thunder Stealer. The Vic Porcelli Show on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Are you tired of chiropractors who rush treatments and overcharge? At Dr. Toby's place, Dr. Tobin Lingefelter takes a different approach.
I believe in listening to my patients, understanding their needs, and treating the whole person.
Whether it's back pain, headaches, or joint issues, Dr. Toby is committed to your complete wellness journey.
I'm not satisfied until you're feeling your best.
Dr. Toby's place, where your wellness journey begins. Call 314-221-4913 or visit softwavemo.com. That is softwave, WAVE, mo.com.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to bring you the best price ever on my exclusive Gaza Dream Bed sheets. If you're on the front line fighting Hamas, you need the best sleep possible on my exclusive Gaza Dream Bed sheets, made from the finest cotton in the world, grown only in a region between the Golan Heights, the Dead Sea, and the West Bank. My Gaza Dream Bed sheets will get you the great night's sleep you need to kill Hamas terrorists. Order now and get a pair of my pillow slippers to sneak up on those Hamas terrorists. Use the number on your screen and use the promo code SHALOM. Please order now.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station. This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
This is Dr. Bonner Cohen. You are listening to Vic and Ken on News Talk STL. They're great.
Dr. Bonner Cohen.
Hey, Vic.
Yeah.
I want some Gaza Dream sheets and I want some slippers so I can sneak up on Hamas.
Yeah, still available.
Are they?
That offer is still available.
That's awesome.
My slippers. Matter of fact, call them up. Call up Mike and say, hey, what about these Gaza Dream sheets?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that happened?
That's so funny.
Hey, I want to change gears on you, Ken.
Okay.
Do you want to play that thing that you played for me before?
Oh, yeah.
About.
Let's do.
Yeah, go ahead. This is. I didn't even realize I said this. This was yesterday, I guess.
Yeah, it was just something that I thought it just struck me very funny.
A little trivia. Go ahead.
Yeah, a little trivia.
Okay, here's the quiz. Is a Ponzi scheme named after a guy named Ponzi?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes.
Correct. Was boycott named after a guy named Boycott?
Yes.
Yes, it was. Finally, is the word shrapnel named after a guy named Shrapnel?
I think it was.
It was. Grant just sent me that information.
Oh, did he?
Ago.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
He said the term shrapnel is indeed named after its inventor, Henry Shrapnel, a British Army officer who invented a type of artillery projectile filled with lead balls and bursting charge designed to scatter the balls all over enemy troops, not to mention scatter the troops' balls all over them. Anyway, thank you, Grant. I appreciate that. I love stuff like that.
Thanks, Grant.
All right, so Ponzi scheme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You couldn't say balls anymore.
I shouldn't have said that the first time, and we definitely should not have played it a second time. But it was kind of funny. and that's what it does. All right, I'm not going to get into that.
No.
I had no idea that shrapnel was named after somebody named Shrapnel. I mean, those days are over now, right?
What?
Can you think of anything modern day that is named after someone?
No. I mean, I'm sure there is, but no, I can't offhand. No.
Goodyear tires named after somebody named Goodyear?
Well, yeah, from a long time ago.
Birdseye named
Crescent Wrench. I mean, it could be a Crescent. I don't know. That's the company.
Birdseye Vegetables.
What about that?
Named after somebody named Birdseye?
Was it really?
Yes. It's crazy.
Huh. It was like Chief Birdseye.
Chief Birdseye.
Well, yeah, Birdseye doesn't sound like a regular name. It sounds like,
I see.
You know, like
Native American?
Yeah, like yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
I think that's just you being very racist.
That's not racist.
Sure it is.
I'm Sapapa Indian from Oklahoma.
Come over here, Red Birdseye.
I can say that I'm actually more Indian than Liz Warren. So
my daughter-in-law is part Cherokee.
Is she?
And she has a Cherokee Nation license plate in Oklahoma. She's in Oklahoma. And I'm pretty sure she got some of her medical coverage through that.
Oh, I thought you were going to have a punchline or something.
Not everything is a joke.
I was
Kenneth
waiting. I was
James
just waiting.
Williams.
But yes, Sapulpa Indian. That's out of Sapulpa.
Sapulpa.
Yeah, they're part of the Creek Nation. They were in South Carolina originally, and then they immigrated across the U.S. to Oklahoma, and now there's a Sapulpa, Oklahoma.
So, which side of your family is that?
It's my dad's side.
I thought he was Welsh.
His father, yes, came from Wales, but his wife's grandmother was named Bird Lady, actually.
Birdseye.
No, but that's why I asked about Birdseye, because
young Birdseye.
My great grandmother apparently was named Bird Lady, and she took care of. Actually, had a women's shelter in St. Louis.
Oh, very nice.
And took care of, women who were without a husband and had children. That was a different way back then.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good job. In New Jersey, the big tribe that was there was the Lenni Lenape Indians. And have you ever done the 23andMe or any of that DNA crap?
No, I don't want to do that.
I you know what? I said from the beginning with Ancestry and 23andMe, my first thing was I don't feel like we should use something as important as DNA for entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's all that really is
Kind of agree with that, yeah.
And then you think about it now, wait a minute, they have my DNA.
Yeah.
I wasn't smart enough to think of that.
Well, now 23andMe went bankrupt apparently, and
and that was going to be the punchline of my story, but you didn't think I'd get there, I guess.
I didn't think you would get Vic.
Yeah, isn't that funny? You never think I'm going to get there.
No, I didn't think you were going to.
Are you going to play it or not?
I didn't think you were going to go that direction. Okay, I'm sorry.
Ken, Thunder Stealer.
So, they have your DNA. I didn't think that was a good idea. And now they're going bankrupt, and they're going to be selling your DNA and all your information if you did that crap to who knows who. Who knows who's going to have all your information.
Anybody could. China could.
And you know what, too? It pissed me off about the Ancestry did this more than 23andMe. It was like, these DNA tests will show you, young man, that ethnicity that you don't like. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then
they tried to politicize it, yeah.
You're 5% that ethnicity that you
look
hate.
at you.
You know?
Look at you.
And I felt like that was crap. I felt like that information that they were saying on that commercial was crap. You know?
Yeah.
Now, I'll never know because I'm never doing one of these things. But I will bet you I come back 100% Italian.
100% Italian.
Yeah. You got a problem with that?
No.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because you've probably got some other, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a mutt. That's why I ask. I am literally like a mutt. I mean, we have German, French, Scotch, Irish, Wales, Welsh,
my
Indian.
2 grandfathers emigrated here from Italy, and they were both from Naples, little suburbs of Naples. So I can't see how I could have anything else.
Well, apparently, if you go back far enough, we're all like kindred spirits.
Hey, maybe
we're all together.
Maybe I'll test my DNA with 23andMe.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Never.
No.
Bite me. Okay. Are you done being snarky with me?
Trying.
Okay.
I'm trying really hard. Not to be.
This is so stupid, Ken. But I tell you that big story about Sal. He didn't play drums, but he could sit behind the drum set and play this song. This "Give Me All Your Love."
Oh, could he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he loved that very beginning there. He was pretty good at it for somebody that has no musical experience. All right, chat box is next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
On the next.
Larry Connors, USA.
Iran and Israel back at the top of the news, and new developments, they're happening hourly. We'll bring you up to speed.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
It's that time of season when families, businesses are moving. For local or long distance, I endorse McGuire Moving. Get a date set soon before the schedules are booked. 314-241-0600. 241-0600. McGuire is constantly giving back to our veterans, such as support dogs for our brave. So with McGuire, you're getting excellent service and helping our vets. McGuireMoving.com.
Whoosh.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
On News Talk STL.
All right, welcome to it. Oh, Ken, good job. I jumped right on your...
No, it's okay.
You're hitting the post there. That was good.
Hitting the post.
Owner of a Lonely Heart. Yes. Okay. I think we got plenty of time. If we don't, it's Ken's fault. Right?
Right.
Okay. So let's do it. Let's do the chat box. Facebook's first. Good morning, gents and fellow Vic heads. Have a great day, everyone. Our favorite Navy chief, Scotty Downey. Tom says, good morning, freedom fighters. I'm so sick of these so-called influencers and pundits on X. Good Lord, reading some of these posts is like the world is ending. I mean, from one extreme to the next. I do the 48-hour rule, especially with this Israel-Iran conflict goes. They're fools are lighting their hair on fire and sound more like leftists than conservatives.
That's a good rule of thumb. You know, give it some time.
Yep.
Let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah. I have faith that this is going to end without us involved.
Well, if you go back, if you've been following Trump for the last 10 years, you gotta believe and trust in what he's going to do. You have to.
And I do. So good morning, News Talk STL family. Thank you, Kathleen. She says, just don't listen to those people. They're confused on so many levels. Amy, good morning, Vic Head Patriots. I'm reading some of these to myself and deciding whether we're going to read them. Justin Eidelberg.
Hey, Justin.
You know him?
No.
Oh. Good morning from the West Side. Good morning, Justin. Great to have you with us, man. Stick around. Good morning, Vic Heads and Thunder Stealer Patriots. I wonder who she's talking about there.
I don't know.
Candace has flipped her lid. I think so. Very next one. Candace Owens has lost it. So I'm reading. I'm editing in my head here, guys. Just bear with me. Trust me. You want it the way I'm going to do it. Allison says, arrest them all. Zip ties work. So you read that earlier today, Ken. Expose the evidence and ruin the perverts. I think that is in response to our friend Michael Letts from Invest USA.
Yeah.
And, he says they got dirt on trafficking by people in Congress and the Senate. So many so that the government would get crippled. Collapse would have been a better word. Sorry. I enjoy having KK on twice a week. Time to get DTA on twice a week. All right. Let's figure out.
Drew Thomas Allen.
Drew Thomas, KK, Karen Catalina.
Right.
I got it. Yeah, we love having Karen on twice a week. And I don't need to be made fun of twice a week about my English and my Italian speaking.
He doesn't even bring it up until you do.
Now, see, that is not true.
That is true.
Today, he brought it up, and then I commented on it. Yeah, you go back.
All right, I'm going to go back and listen because every time we play the intro, you say, well, I'll work. Okay, I'm done.
But it wasn't then. It was after we're already in the conversation. It says, then, like how Vic does his.
Oh, so it was his fault. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All Trump's fault.
Yep.
Back to blue, you bet. Remember, hit the like. Yes, please.
A little bit.
Hit the like button. Hit
Please.
the share button. The share button really helps us out. So more people can hear the show. More people can see all this handsomeness and all the great artwork from Nick Schroer.
Think about what you'd think about at the time.
And what about all this artwork here? That's all Nick, right?
That's Nick. And
this particular slate I'm looking at has a caricature drawing of Ken Williams, but none for Vic Porcelli. Isn't that funny?
Huh.
No Vic Porcelli caricature there.
Wonder what happened to that thing.
I guess you forgot it there, yeah.
I'll have to go look at it. I'll have to go check it out.
Whatever. Obama funded and set up the Palestinian schools, which taught kids to be terrorists. That is true. They teach these kids from a very young age to hate Jews.
Yeah, as far as funding, we really need to dive even deeper into that USAID. That is funding. Can you imagine for decades we've been funding this crap? For decades, Vic, billions, trillions of dollars.
And how dare the left tell us how many starving children need USAID? It's not true. Give Israel what they need to take out Iran's nuclear capability and let that lion roar. I like that. Stay strong, Israel. We support you. That's from Barb. Thank you, Barb, so much. Let's go over to Rumble. Howdy, howdy, boy. Howdy.
Good morning, St. Louis.
101 straight up said that. Oh, my God. Is Ed Stewart not in the room today? What's going on? Oh, he's very, very late. So 101 took I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No fair electric.
No peace.
No fair tariffs.
No peace.
No peace. It kind of seems as if politicians, we the people, are merely spent condoms in their eyes.
That's an interesting analogy.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here for us. Look at that, 101 thanking you, not me, for being here. Isn't that funny? Because you said, good morning, freedom fighters. Thanks for having us along with you. And then 101 says, Ken Show. Thank you for being here. Huh.
Correct!
I guess I'm not here. Hannity is hard to listen to, almost as hard as O'Reilly. But I tell you what, when you're driving home today, you got to listen to Tim and Chris And please don't pollute your just mentality and sensibility. To trust me, ideologically, we're on the same page.
Oh, exactly.
Same page. But find somebody else to give it to. Tim and Chris.
Yeah.
Period. Ken, I agree about Candace. Am I here today?
You're here.
This mic working?
It's working.
Ken, I agree about Candace Owens. I'm really disappointed in her. I didn't say anything about Candace Owens. What the hell? For the second time in 5 days, the IDF has eliminated Iran's wartime chief of staff. The regime's top military commander, the IDF, wrote on X.
Yeah, if I was a commander rising in the ranks in Iran right now, I wouldn't be. I'd be hiding.
That's okay, really. No.
I don't want to go up there yet. I'm okay.
Call me in a week. Not right now.
He is a hot ass mess, honey.
Al Shadmani, Iran's senior-most military official and Khomeini's closest military advisor, was killed in a IAF strike in central Tehran following precise intelligence. Maybe Iran will run out of job applicants. Childless cat lady, Vic and Ken, it seems to me like Hannity used to be better on air. Is Fox management afraid to tell him to do better? They got to know he's annoying and interrupts his guests. I don't know if they know. I don't know if they watch. I don't know if they care.
If they care, it's very complicated, I'm sure. But Vic, I gave up on him like six years ago.
Well, I got to watch the end so I can.
I understand that. I understand. My biggest problem with Hannity, and I know you have a couple things, but mine is that he has no solution. He just says the exact same thing in the same mantra every single day.
And he can't come up with anything more creative than Greg Gutfeld is next to put a smile on your face. So, Childless Cat Lady is our friend Sandra. She wrote me a while back and she said, if you guys are going to be funny, you got to tell me in advance because I almost burnt myself through cooking. She was laughing so hard she spelled. So yesterday I said, Sandra, I hope you're not cooking. And she sent me an email that said, I was having ice cream when I laughed. So when you guys were being funny, so it was safe. Okay. Hi, CCL. What is CCL? That's you. God. No wonder they only answer you. Likewise, Ken. Sean Vanity is a blowhard. Is my mic working today?
Yeah, I'm just responding with text.
Yeah. And they got billions of dollars from Obama. Oh, Ed Stoic got in late. I guess I'll chat today. Thought about going to Facebook. I pledge allegiance to America, no election.
No peace.
No tariffs. Good morning, all you beautiful, MAGA, ultra patriotic, deplorable, Garbagian, degenerate, freedom fighting, God fearing, Vic Hab weirdos.
Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Hey, something we need to refer to a lot is the fact that Biden administration gave the opportunity for Iran to get so much money by selling their oil. Nobody's talking about that. One of the reasons why there's so much turmoil in the Middle East right now is because of Iran, because they have the wherewithal to do all this crap.
And the press, they said that, well, Joe Biden made a deal with Iran and Trump broke that deal. Well, what are you talking about? Biden gave them money so they can get nuclear weapons and Trump took them away.
Obama gave them pallets of money, number one. Okay. Pallets. And then Biden we keep saying Biden and now we know it was probably 10 other people.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And none of them were him.
And no.
Just like I stated before, says DLW, you don't lose all your weight on a diet on the first day. It takes time for prices to get back down. But yet, oddly enough, I went to bed last night. I was really skinny. And I woke up and what the
You were really skinny when you went to bed last
and
night?
then I woke up and I was like, what the hell is this? Tariffs on China are supposedly affecting fireworks inventory and pricing at the regional fireworks stand. Fox 2, St. Louis, I believe, reported on it either yesterday or Sunday. That's from Sea Turtle. Jamie talked about that at length yesterday.
Yeah.
He's like, fireworks are American and bombs bursting in air.
Right.
That's what it's supposed to symbolize. Even though my father had a way to keep us safe, even by lying to us. Well, first of all, he said, don't play by the railroad tracks. Because when I was young, we were playing by the railroad tracks, and a train came, and my friend's foot got caught in the track, and the train cut his foot off.
Oh.
Never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Right.
And then he shows us a picture of a hand that's got like 3 fingers blown off. See this? This kid played with fireworks. I was like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not going to play with fireworks. So I never touched fireworks.
Growing up, we had such a contentious relationship with fireworks. My brothers and I. We would have so many fights with them. It was crazy,
You used
Vic.
to shoot them at each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would have these wars. And one time, and I'm not exaggerating here, my brother has a scar on his ass to prove it. He had a bunch of bottle rockets in his pocket in the back.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I'm talking like about 3 of those packages full, shoved in his pocket, and I shot one at him. He turned around, and when he turned around, it blew up and hit him in the back.
Yeah.
And then it all just kind of filtered down into his pants pocket and went off.
We couldn't get that far because we were not allowed to
He
have
had to rip
fireworks.
his pants off.
We couldn't even have firecrackers. Nothing. We have a no King's date. Oh, we have a no King's date. It's July 4th.
There, yes.
My favorite holiday, and I have plenty of crackers left over the last years. Don't bring them to me. I'm not allowed to have them. Sullivan Brothers from World War II. Random, but thank you very much. And then a link to the Sullivan Brothers. Ernest Kuma was the recipient of the Medal of Honor for his heroic actions during the Korean War. He was initially awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, but it was later upgraded to the Medal of Honor. Kuma was presented with the Medal of Honor by Harry S. Truman. This was the veterans that we honored today.
Yeah.
I guess I got something wrong. I apologize for that. If everyone hired Americans and paid the wages they should, more money should go into Social Security. Hello? I don't know if that would fix the problem, but Social Security, it would help.
Well, one thing that's helping Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid is that we're getting all the fraud out of it. I mean, that's what's they're even saying that Social Security now, they would say by 2035 it's going to be insolvent, right? But they're saying now, because of all the fraud and everything, they're finding out, well, maybe it'll be longer. Maybe it will last longer.
It's still coming out of people's paychecks.
Right.
Social Security.
Right.
I don't understand. But then again, I'm no mathematician. I worked any job that paid money. I laid sod, picked gladiolas, mowed yards, carried bundles of shingles up a ladder for carpenters to roof a house.
Yep.
Worked for a Blue Crabber grocery store bag boy. Gas station attendant. I busted tires full time for the last 2 years of high school. What's that mean, busted tires?
I don't know.
When I wasn't in class or doing chores at home.
Sounds like it's probably changing tires off of the rims, maybe.
Gas station attendant, and I busted tires full time. Okay. Got a job permit from my parents at age 15 and a half. I got my first job at Pep Car Wash and Gas. Washed cars and pumped gas. Been steady working ever since.
That's what these jobs are for. They're for younger people to get a work ethic going,
Car wash, any car wash will say, earn a day's pay. They'll pay you that day.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You can just walk in and say, okay, I'll do it. Give me the money. I washed dishes and bus tables at a beachside restaurant my parents' friend had. I was 12, no work permit. Ed Stoit says, balls. Isn't he on the Doge team?
Yeah, Big Balls was.
Balls.
Yeah.
Vic, I did my heritage, my family, 100% Sicilian. There you go, Vicky. Since Sicily was taken over so many times in the last 2,000 years, it showed I was Greek, Lebanese, Egyptian, and Jewish.
Now, see, yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Sicilian and Spanish and Portuguese.
Vic, you could be.
I don't think so. I think
you're just 100% Italian.
Yeah.
So you're just 100% Italian.
Yes.
That's it. It's going to say nothing else.
What don't you understand about it?
It's just funny.
Let me tell you, I don't need a DNA test. You come over to my house and eat the aiolio I had the other night, or the sausage and peppers.
I'll be all Italian too, wouldn't I?
Tonight. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you eat like one, you are one.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys. And hey, the podcasts, right? Think of the podcasts.
Yeah.
Get those wherever podcasts are found. It really helps us, and it'll help your friends. Pass them along to your friends. Pass them out. Don't be stingy.
Yeah, and if you have somebody questioning their loyalty to one party or the other, just send them our way.
Send them our way.
Get that podcast, and hey, hit the like button, would you please?
Please.
Would it kill you?
Would it? Would it kill you?
Would it?
To hit the like button?
No, we do appreciate it, though.
Of course. We appreciate all you guys all the time. I think we got everybody in the chat box except one person.
Yeah.
Which I made a executive decision to ignore today, which is all right.
That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, every day we read his crap. Every day.
That's fine.
But today we decided not to.
No, but good show, Vic.
Thanks.
Had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, we did. Thanks to
you.
A
lot.
Tomorrow's a Wednesday, so we'll do that whole thing. Jamie Allman is next, a 3 Martini lunch.
The award-winning show.
That's right. He won a Missouri Broadcaster Award. We thank you for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
And Jamie's right after the news on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Always be clear where you get your conservative talk.
Soros Fund Management is positioned to become the biggest shareholder of Odyssey, the nation's second largest radio company.
St. Louis's trusted source and #1 for live and local conservative talk. This is News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic, and I'm here with Kathy Connor at Connor Roofing. Kathy, what makes Connor Roofing different?
Hey, Vic. I'm glad that you asked. I think that what really sets Connor Roofing apart is our relationship with our customers. It's very important to us to develop that trust with the homeowner. This is what has allowed us to serve our friends and our neighbors in the St. Louis area for 30 years. Whether we are doing a roof or a gutter repair or even a full replacement, you can count on Connor for quality service and workmanship.
Thanks, Kathy. To find out more, visit them at connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Transform your furry friend at Dapper Dog. Personalized grooming for dogs and cats of all breeds, featuring creative color treatments and luxurious spa services with quick turnaround and one-on-one care. Let your pup play all day in our bark park Monday through Friday. Need overnight boarding? We accept only 10 families at a time for truly personalized care. No extra charges for playtime, medications, or potty breaks, so your pet gets the attention they deserve. In St. Peters and in Troy, or at youdapperdog.com. That's youdapperdog.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peters, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Israel says its sweeping assault on Iran's top military leaders, nuclear scientists, uranium enrichment sites, and ballistic missile program are all necessary to prevent its adversary from getting any closer to building a nuclear bomb.
The Israeli military has said this morning that it is continuing to kill senior Iranian military officials. Now, when these attacks started 5 days ago, one of the first things they did was kill several of the most senior members of Iran's intelligence, of its military, of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps, really senior totemic military figures. What they say they've done today is actually kill one of their replacements. So Iran very quickly put new people in those positions, and one of them has only survived for 5 further days.
And that is the BBC's Anna Foster reporting. Economist Stephen Moore says he likes some of the changes that the Senate is making to the Trump tax and spending legislation, the big, beautiful bill that was already approved by the House.
Overall, I give it a B+. I think it's a good bill. I think it improves on the House bill in many ways. And I think we're well on the way.
However, Moore did tell the Salem Radio Network he thinks congressional passage of the bill by the House Speaker's 4th of July deadline is, quote, a bit ambitious. Former Senator Bob Menendez arrives at prison.
The New Jersey Democrat has been mocked crimes as Gold Bar Bob, according to his own lawyer.
The 71-year-old Menendez maintains his innocence. Last week, a